Yo, 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 yo. Live chat. What's going on, friends? Do some more paranormal stories next. Sure. What up from Seattle? Hello, hello, Seattle. What's going on in the Windy City? Is that what Seattle's known for? What you got for us? I'm trying to find something that I can go to sleep to. There's absolutely nothing, so I'm glad that you just came live. Well, definitely... Oh, hey, Lori. Lori, long time no see, I feel like. Well, it's definitely not dark web stuff anymore. That video got shit on so hard, dude. Well, the Windy's shitty. The Windy's shitty. Chicago. I don't know. What? Oh, Rainy City. Whatever. All the fucking stupid elements in the one. I just know it for having fentanyl. That's all I really know it for anymore. The Fenty City. I picked a playlist that's something similar to like Odessa. I don't know. I don't know. It feels pretty sweet. What do you guys... Couldn't listen to it, bothered you? Yeah, it was just like, oh man, it was a tough mix, you know. It was like we went really hard into it. It was basically reporting like the most messed up stuff you can imagine in regards to you know, just shit from the internet, right? Like creepy websites from like the deep web internet sort of thing. Gilbert Godfrey. And then unfortunately it got age restricted. Apparently you're not allowed to talk about people offing themselves. Which, it's not like we were doing it in a malicious way or anything like that. It was just like, am I surprised? I'm not, because we said the word suicide like 50 times in the video. And that, you know, like that's like just a no-no word on YouTube for the most part. Like even before that, I had always sort of said, like Pete Davidson's Joker. It's funny. But even before that, I would always say like, he took his own life, you know what I mean, to avoid it. But I don't know, the material was just a little too like heavy and too repetitive, I guess, because there's similar dark things we've covered in the true crime realm. Yeah, I'm not saying Unalive. Unalive is like the most every time I hear it, the only thing I can think about is just like the fucking newspeak of TikTok and their like endless vernacular that they come up with to like have a different term for something. It's just like, if the you're literally covering the fucking topic of someone killing themselves, so why make up a new word for it? It's not like it's a fucking slur. It's not like it's something that's... if you're going to talk about the topic, you might as well use the fucking words for it. Amy, thanks for the 5, says, Betty, my beagle who I had at the ER on Sunday, is doing slightly better. She has vestibular disease. What is that? That sounds familiar. Is that a heart situation? Let's look it up. Vestibular disease. Sensory system that creates a sense of, oh, okay, balance and spatial orientation for the purpose of coordinating movement and balance. Oh, it's in the inner ear. Oh, an inner ear issue. Interesting. How many stories tonight? We got a lot tonight, but I genuinely don't... I'm like curious. To keep it PG. Deleted himself is also pop. It's just, yeah, pop shit, dude. It's so cringe. It's like, what what? Like, you know, and some people talk about like the concept of like trigger warnings pertaining to those particular topics. Like maybe they struggled with that and were on the verge, and now that's like a PTSD moment for them. But do those particular vocabulary somehow not affect their mind if they're sitting there ruminating on the, you know, concept? What's your Chipotle order? Dude, I just get everything, but it's like chicken. I kind of hate the beef. Nothing against the pork either, actually like the pork, but the beef at Chipotle is just too fucking chewy. You know what I mean? I would much rather have like pulled beef or whatever. But yeah, I always get like some. Oh, do they have pulled chicken there? That would be so good. But I love just getting like a huge fucking burrito that makes you feel pregnant. Makes you feel like sonic inflation. What happens if they say killed? Do they lose their account? I don't know, dude. I just think TikTok's got to be the worst place to have an account. You know what I mean? Like there's been, you know, Jensen, who comes in here as a mod and creates content all over the place, but he, you know, he would get like his accounts up to like 500,000 subscribers or more, and then just like do one like bad joke or whatever, like that was slightly offensive or whatever to one person, but funny, and then his whole ass fucking account just gets nuked, you know? It's just so cringe. And it's like, who, you know, there's just these faceless people behind the TikTok like algorithm. At least with YouTube, like, sure, there's times where like I get age restricted, but I can like reach out to a representative and be like, hey, what do you think about this? And they're like, hey Joel, thanks for bringing this to our attention. Unfortunately, and like that makes me feel infinitely better, you know, than thinking that some council in the CCP is like, I don't get it. Kill them. What is Chipotle? I've heard of that. I have no clue what it is. Do you remember Subway, Lori? Where you go through and you like, you know, Jared Fogle makes you a 6-inch sub. It's pretty much that, but with a bunch of like, you know, higher, I would say 2 or 3 steps higher than like Taco Bell ingredients, you know what I mean? Like everything's made on like a stovetop grill. Oh yeah, you like that? Yeah, this mix is called Odessa Vibes Winter Chill Mix Study Relax 2 hours. I need to just like start titling my shit just keywords. Scary, spooky, study, relax, come, jizz, fall asleep, right now, go. Since the CEO of Chipotle stepped down, the quality is crap. Has it gone down? I thought it was the same ingredients or whatever. The video would get taken down and your account get flagged. It happened to me with fake blood. Yeah, I don't know. TikTok sucks. You guys said they're like suing the US government or whatever right now because it's infringing upon their speech. Isn't it funny? It's infringing upon their speech, but like they censor the fuck out of like everyone within their TOS all the time. It's like, oh, now fucking freedom of speech like matters. It's just so fucking stupid. Moe's supremacy. Yeah, I like Moe's. I've been to a Moe's before. It was good. It had a lot more variety there of just like various sarses. Honestly, any place that doesn't have 10 million people in the line, I'll fucking go there. I inspired you to start making those kind of videos. Nice, dude. Hope it's going well for you. Hopefully, everybody in the chat, go subscribe to 6 stories right now. What's my death row meal? Honestly, I would do what that one guy did, where he like got a whole grocery list and then he just said he wasn't hungry. Or honestly, I would request to see if maybe I could consume the whole meal anally. Do y'all have a Wingstop in the US? I think we have Wingstop, but I don't think we have one around here. Joel, what are your thoughts on better ingredients, better pizza? Papa John's, fuck yeah. I know he has a bat cave, and that's one of my life goals, so I'm on board. I still, for the longest time, I don't know if you guys have watched Nathan For You, but the Nathan For You show is basically just like this guy, Nathan something or whatever, and he goes around to businesses and comes up with like the worst idea ever. Mex or Murlocs? Oh, you gotta go Mex, Mike. Go Mex. He comes up with like the worst ideas for businesses, like poop flavored froyo or something like that was one of his. He's like, yeah, people are gonna be talking about how the fact that you guys have poop flavored, and then they made it with like, you know, science, and it tasted like shit, and people tried it and were like, that's disgusting. But I always had like one that would be funny for him where he convinces like a Subway, maybe just in like one area, Seattle most likely, to bring back Jared Fogle. They're like, it's a redemption arc, just like people who are trying to, you know, lose weight with Subway and controlling their calorie intake. That's what Jared Fogle will bring back to the company. And just how fucking hilarious that would be. Amy, thank you for the 2 sisters. Shared a pic of Betty on your Reddit. Oh, your dog. Okay. Let's go take a peek at the doggy dog. Oh, he's got like a tilted. That's so cute. It's like looking at you like, Ruff? That's funny. Hope Betty's doing all right. Haven't watched X-Men 97. I have not, no. I want to. I heard it was great. Your death row meal is just a sandwich from Subway. Yeah. It's just a $5 foot long. But it has to be $5. Yeah, as an advertisement, they hire felons. They're like, we didn't want to do it, guys, but Jared's back. The Biden administration forced us to hire him. He's just sitting in there, like, pressing panini bread down. Hey, guys. That'd be so funny if Jared somehow, like, got back to, like, 450 pounds in prison. I gained the weight back because I didn't have access to Subway. And it's a lot harder for the prisoners to rape me whenever I'm not very good looking. And also when they can't find my butthole. Where do you get all your sources of viewer submissions? Yeah, you know, viewer submissions. I got a bunch from Reddit right now, like asking permission there, but a lot of them over email. I mean, I've built up a large subscriber base to like submit their stuff in, which has been nice, especially for like the theme related stuff. I can kind of keyword search within email to find stuff, or at least have people help me with that to find them. Onion comedy CEOs express surprise people actually eat a whole. Wait, CEOs express surprise people actually eat a whole foot long. I don't think I've seen that. I just remember the one from, I don't know if it was The Onion or what it was, but it was like they launched like a convicted serial pedophile into space just to like, you know, finish his days in space. And then at the last second as he was launching into space, like a 4-year-old child accidentally like climbed into the cockpit, and they're like, this is the worst possible scenario. Mike and Ike with the 1. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. Wear your Let's Read shirt to the gym today. Thank you, Monica. I appreciate that. Yeah, ever since we've been able to like promo our merch on the storefronts, it seems like more people have been buying it, and I appreciate it. What's up, Sora? You can ask a question. Absolutely, yeah. Ask anything you want. What's your subreddit? It is r/Let'sReadOfficial. You can submit a story there, or you can submit a story over email. Let's read submissions at gmail.com. At Jamail. That'd be so funny if somebody named their kid Jamail. So your name is Gmail? Nah, it's Jamail. That'd be like a Key and Peele skit. Alright, I'm looking for Gmail. Gmail? It's Jamal. Alright, Gmail, sit down. Your name is Joel? That's sick. My name's Joel. Or Joel. Get bullied for life. I know. People really got to start taking into consideration when they name their kids something outlandish. That there are other kids in the school that are not very nice. Like, what's so wrong with just Jonathan? They got to be Sping Dangler the Third, carrier of the leaf. Yeah, gmail.com from Tennessee. What's up, Yasmin's? Oh, Elon Musk's son's name. Dude, yeah, like, to me, Elon Musk, like that kid's gonna love that fucking song. It was like a 90s buzz ballad where it's like, my daddy gave me a name, and then he walked away. Oh shit, what the fuck? Oh shit. Hey, Samira with the big 40 buckarino says, thank you so much for all you do. Love your content. Thank you, Samira. Thank you so much for that. Making it twerk. Appreciate you. Jonathan is basic. That's true. It's got to be John Tronathan. There's a great subreddit called Trage Day. Full of stupid names like that. That's awesome. Does it have to be like examples from real life? What are the chances of my story being posted to the podcast? It just depends. You know what I mean? Obviously, I think a lot of it's kind of not necessarily luck. Like, obviously, you would want to write it. You would want to write it well with good syntax and all that kind of grammar, etc., etc. But sometimes it's really just luck of the draw getting picked. Exterminate. Suddenly Joel and Doctor Who were both killed by the Doctor's worst enemy, the Daleks. Pronounced Darleks. Oh. My question was, what made you start doing Reddit stories? They were just, I was doing creepypastas a lot in the past, like horror, amateur horror fiction, and then the true scary stories of like Mr. Nightmare and all that kind of stuff was taken off. So I just sort of didn't really have much of like a, I don't know, set in stone type of content yet. So I just kind of followed along with that, and it worked out. Do you read stories that are fake? I kind of want to write one. I mean, no, I don't really read creepypastas on the channel anymore unless it's like for bonus content, and then that, in which case it has to be like, like really, really good amateur horror fiction. At least pretty solid. Any tips? Recently started back on YouTube and I wanted to ask advice as I want to narrate just using my voice like you do on your streams. Yeah, I guess it just depends on what kind of content that you want to make. I mean, you could start start a creepypasta narration channel, or, true scary stories, or true crime, could be. Or you could do one that focuses solely on paranormal stories. Yeah. What's my opinion on the YouTuber known as Chills? Chills is one of the nicest, prettiest, and cutest guys on the web 3.0. No, I love Chills. Chills is amazing. Dylan is chillin'. Why'd Chills change his narrating voice? Did he really? No way. I don't believe you. I thought he went like harder into it. Chills. Let's see, 7 hours ago. Alright, pause real quick.
15, levitating. While driving home, a man named Alejandro...
Oh, sounds the same. I'm fine with it. Oh, it's reading time, baby. Let's go. Boom, ba da boom, ba da boom, ba da boom. All right, so we got a myriad of lay Reddit stories here. Me too, please. Let's read. If it's not, it's fine. Wait, what me too? Hashtag me too? What are you talking about? Read my paranormal story tonight. If not, it's fine. No, probably not, just because I think we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 scary Reddit ones to make it through. What's up, Opie? How we doing? Just happened to look at your phone at that exact moment. Yeah, I was a little bit worried like the age restricted video was gonna like somehow affect my channel. I mean, obviously that video didn't get. It sucked because it was like, okay, people love the dark web stories, so I'm like, all right, well, let's look up some dark web, you know, documentary style stuff. It was actually also a way to like promote Sam Writing, because he does my bonus content, you know, creepypasta stuff, but he also does a fantastic job doing, you know, researching true crime stuff and writing up true crime documentary style stuff. And so that was going to be the video where I promo his Substack, where you can support his like independent writing and all of that kind of stuff. And then like within the like on YouTube's like ratings of how your videos are doing, they go based off your like last 10 videos. So the best rating would be a 1 out of 10, like it's your number one video out of 10 performance wise, and the worst rating would be a 10 out of 10, meaning it's like out of 10 videos it's like the 10th, you know, or lower performing one. And in the first hour, that dark web video had a 1 out of 10, but then within like 1 hour it got age restricted. So I don't know if somebody like, if it was like automated or if someone actually legitimately reported it, but just unlucky, I guess. Do I think Matt Rife is funny? No, I don't. And I know he was trying to like remarket himself or whatever to be like more appealing to the male audience, but I don't know if that was I mean, it was probably good for his spiritual self, because being a comedian, you don't want to be the guy, you don't want to be the stand-up comedian that gets up there and like flirts with your audience and like people bring you Build-A-Bear bullshit for your whole life. You know what I mean? You don't, that if that's not truly who you are and you enjoy like edgy Louis C.K. style jokes as a, you know, as a consumer of comedy, eventually you're going to be like, I'm fucking sick of this audience. You know what I mean? So he shifted, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pick up whatever audience he's looking for in like the male area, because they've already probably deemed him as cringe. Talk about the gym for 3 hours. All right, let's get started. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so burpees. Burpees are so cool. 11-year-old, every time I get in the car, can we listen to scary stories? That's awesome. I appreciate that. Soon we will have an army of listeners. And I know why some people really liked Matt, and that's totally fine. Honestly, I think that was kind of cool that he had, reflecting back on it, like he was able to penetrate every woman in the audience. No, he was able to penetrate that in a type of audience that otherwise doesn't really do comedy. You know what I mean? Like overall, I would say, like statistically speaking, like women just don't really go to comedy shows and enjoy the process in the same way that a guy is attracted to. You know, it's like guys are attracted to comedy in the way that women might be more attracted to makeup tutorials or something like that. You know what I mean? And like, so like for him to actually go in and generate this cult-like following, even if he does start to give some of his like TikTok style, I don't even know what you want to call it, like motivational speeches Now, I know, guys, listen. Like, I know, like, we really need to start learning to love ourselves. Like, people really need to start learning to love themselves. Like, truly, I mean that. But, and then he says, and he starts jumping, oh, I'm going to tell a joke now. It's just like, fuck you! Fuck you! I would have a fucking tomato machine. Like a tomato launching machine that machine guns tomatoes at him on stage until he is covered in, like, pizza sauce. Okay, anyways. Let's read a story. Let's read a scary, spooky... Wait, what did I do? File... Okay, we're good. We got the silence recorded. A Gatlin to me, yeah, just in the back, like cranking the Gatlin, like do. I'm like feeding it tomatoes on like a belt, and he's like dodging it. And it was that day that I realized I needed to change my comedy up. Lynn, thank you for the 5. Says currently going through a little rough patch. Thank you for everyone who is able to help get my mind off things. You're welcome, Lynn. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Sneaky snake. Never forget the 3-hour scrotum mutilation story. Yeah, I was thinking too, that was probably not the smartest story to like start with. I probably should have started with the cat getting microwave story. Also, I thought it was interesting, like more people were upset that like I included the Magnota guy's like story, and that was more of a necessary trigger warning for them. But I literally had, like, when you click on the video, it's like warning. This video is only for 18, and then I also had a warning in it. You know, I didn't necessarily mean to. It was kind of just based on the last one because I had like a cat pointing at the screen that said trigger warning or, you know, something like that. So I kind of went along with that theme, but I, you know, really didn't think that through pertaining to the context of the don't F with cats. So yeah, that was not smart. I know, it gives you 2 warnings before the video starts and people still are like pissed off. I guess I'll just stick to... But I did like the one guy's comment where he was like, this guy goes from like an Airbnb's lights not being able to turn on to like the most fucked up shit I've heard in like a year. He's like, let's read Keeping It Gangsta. How's the weather? It has been rainy the past couple of days. 6 months sober. Nice, Brandy. Congrats. Keep going strong. Change the lifestyle, baby. Let's go. Get in the gym. For context, I'm now 26 and I met my stalker at 14 to 15. So when I was 4, should that be the first sentence? Yeah, we'll start with this one as the first sentence. Where am I from? I'm from Pennsylvania. When I was 14, I decided to take ballroom dance classes. That was kind of normal for teenagers in my generation in my country. There you had to change partners each song, so every girl would dance with every boy. In my group that consisted mostly of teens between 14 to 17, there was a really tall, almost 2-meter, 21-year-old guy named Philip. We had a nice chat the times that we danced, but he seemed weird. And because I was young and naive, and that's how I normally made friends, I told him where I lived when he asked me. And so the stalking began at the time that I didn't realize. At the time I didn't realize that it was stalking. I just thought that he had too much time and that it was annoying. Philip would ride on his bike from his home, he lived on one town over, to my house and asked if I wanted to spend time outside with him and play. After doing that for a few times, I asked my parents to tell him that I'm not home when he would come over. Both my parents and I were very oblivious about his actions for a very, very long time. At one point in time in the stalking... Bollocks. Amy! With the two says, I'm Pennsylvania 2 in the Pittsburgh suburb, the burbs. Nice, dude. Do you guys say yins? Yins over there? I know that's a Pittsburghian thing to say yins. At one point in time, the stalking ended for a few weeks, and Philip also didn't come to dance classes. At that time, I became part of a friend group of a boy that I'd fancied. For some months, he had a girlfriend, but they split soon after, and I became his girlfriend. Unfortunately, Philip was also friends with the best friend of my boyfriend, so he was also part of that group. They told me Philip was in a mental hospital. In the span of his stalking, Philip was in a mental hospital multiple times, and every time he was, I was glad because then I had some peace. When I was 16, my family and I had to move because our landlady had thrown us out. She wanted to live in the property herself. And so we moved one town over. We started living 2 streets apart from my now stalker. And every time Philip was out of the hospital, he would be at my house. And it wasn't as often, but still. On my father's birthday, he rang again, and because my family had guests, they told me to open the door, and there he was, looming over me like a dark, menacing shadow man. I told him to leave, and I tried to close the door, but he blocked it. So I was standing there, afraid, and I started begging him to leave. At one point, I even ran inside to get my dad to send him away, but my dad just said something like, "He's your friend. It's your problem." So I went back to the door and I begged and pleaded that Philip please just leave. At one point, he was kneeling and sitting in my doorway. After almost 2 hours, he finally left, and at that point it was obvious for me. Finally, I had realized what type of behavior this was. He was a stalker, and he was absolutely fixated on me. I realized this took a long time, but I was young and I was naive. And the next day I sat down my parents and told them that I was afraid of Philip, and my dad also apologized to me for putting me in that situation and not helping. The next time Philip came to my house, my dad was there and told him that I don't want any contact with him, and so he left. After a few more incidents like that, he stopped showing up at my door, and I thought that we had gotten rid of him. But every time I started to live happily, starting to forget my fear of this guy, a letter, an email, or a gift would show up and would send me back into my fears. And now at 20, I was out of school, and to pass the year, I had to wait to start my job. I worked in a grade school in a voluntary after-school club for grade schoolers. After a month or two, my mom woke me up in the morning and told me to get dressed because she had to call the cops. Apparently Philip was again every morning at our door asking for me, and my parents didn't tell me so I wouldn't get scared. Finally, after the cops told Philip 3 times to leave, he ignored them and they arrested him, and he screamed and screamed my name, that he was burning for me and that the cops hurt him. My parents and I were standing in the kitchen listening to this. The situation was just so absurd and so much for me that I started just laughing hysterically in the moment. It was a strange reaction, but I don't know. It was odd. We filed a report at the police for stalking and trespassing, but the officers said that they couldn't do anything because he hadn't hurt me physically. We tried to get a restraining order, but it didn't go through. A week later, Philip had sneaked into our garden, and like in a movie, he started throwing little rocks at my window. Throwing rocks at a girl's window is not romantic. It's creepy, especially if it's unwanted. An idiot me opened the window, but didn't see anything until it clicked, and I ran downstairs and told my father that Philip was in the garden. But Philip escaped. Now, a week after that, I was in the kitchen cooking when Philip rang the doorbell again, and because we have no way of seeing who was at the door from our house, I opened it. And there he was again, telling me that he missed me, and saying that he had peeked through the blinds of the windows in the living room the past week to see if I was there. My parents were not home. If they had been, I would have ran, but like this, I had to swallow my fear and stand in the doorway listening to this psycho talk until my boyfriend, a now different boyfriend, showed up. I had sent him an SOS SMS and he was on his way. After my boyfriend arrived, he told Philip to leave, and thankfully he did. Philip mentioned in passing that he now also has a girlfriend, and after that I didn't see Philip again for a long time. A friend told me that he was taken by men in white coats because he was believed that his mom was... Oh. Did they say when this happened? So 1 year ago, they're 26. Alright, so 26, okay, yeah. It's like 12 years ago, right? Yeah. 2012. They were like 14, 15. SOS, SMS. Sugar, milk, steak. Your ex made multiple Facebooks to try to talk to me every time. Is blocked when he'd make another. Yeah, that shit was cringe. You think like after you get blocked so many times, it would just like IP block or something of that nature. Hey, Polar Bear, what's up? Team Drake or Kendrick? I don't know, dude. Thinking about like two adults, two like grown-ass men, like sending each other like romantic poetry. You know what I mean? Like it's such an abstract concept for two adult men to be not only frustrated about it, but to like, I'm heading to my diary to write about you, and I will make sure that the words rhyme, and that you will know how incredibly frustrated I am with your presence. And it's just like an odd thing. Just grow up. Sing about Disney Channel. Yeah, and then they serenade each other. Like, what? Yeah, Kendrick, yeah. Kendrick and Drake should just make a sex tape and leak it. Now kiss each other. I want like Eminem to come out of nowhere and be like, I think you guys should just kiss. I think you guys should kiss. Then he starts talking about Haley for the 90th time on his song. Sully, thank you for the 5. They're doing it for money. Yeah, I mean, it's all a marketing ploy to go listen to their dumb fucking silly goose bullshit. After that, I didn't see Philip again for a long time. A friend told me that he was taken by men in white coats. Oh, hold on, the fucking kitty litter box is making noise. Yeah, they'll do a feature together. Grandma, what's up, dude? I don't know, the one thing I really noticed lately is it almost feels like society is going through is like regressing in the sense of like, and maybe it's because the young people haven't there's a demographic of younger people that haven't experienced certain pieces of entertainment and how they are presented in media and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like if you were to go back to like 2012 and there was like, you know, two rappers who had beef with one another, you know, it would be like old hat at this point, like boring. Just, you know, people would be like, you know, they'd look at you and do like the jerk off motion. Like, who gives a fucking shit about these two weirdos? But for some reason, it seems like at some point we like regress backwards to it's almost like, all right, we ran out of ideas, so we're just gonna like reset everything, and hopefully everyone's too young and stupid to like remember that edgy jokes have already been said, and that fucking rappers have beef with each other, and that it's really not that exciting, or I don't know. It's just all the stuff that used to like get no reaction from people is now getting reactions and sales and clicks and all this kind of bullshit, and it's really odd. After that, I didn't see Philip again for a long time. A friend told me that he was taken by men in white coats because he had believed that his mom was possessed by the devil. It wasn't until 2 years later when I got a letter from a court. I was a witness and was declared a witness and told to attend in the case of an assault on Philip. I was declared a witness and told to attend in a case against Philip for assault. Apparently, after coming out of the mental hospital, he had a big fight with his girlfriend and hit get, and because she was scared, she played dead. What? He's a grizzly bear. Philip was a giant bear the whole time looking for honey. Joel sounding like a boomer. I do sound like a boomer, but like it's hard. Like when you're alive for a little bit longer than other people, you start to like ask yourself, like, haven't we been here before? You start to get like deja vu. You know what I mean? Which decade was I born in? I was born in 1990. Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. I hope Mike kills Jake. That'd be so cool. Eugenia in Minecraft. Thank you for the 9 months. What's that message from me to Mr. Pradeep? Meow. Meow. He looked up at me. He says that's very offensive. And he's going to find your information. Why waste time say lot word when few word do trick? This is true. Hey, elder millennials, yeah. It's weird though, because I remember growing up, and yeah, never once did I ever label myself a millennial. It wasn't until like, I don't know, in the past like 5 years or so that like labeling yourself as your generational thing suddenly became important. And I think it's because there's like this weird sort of competition in like Zoomers' brains and like millennials' brains for like attention. And I think that actually is probably more worse for the millennials, because it's kind of cringe that like at an older age you're like still wanting to be as like marketable as a young person to younger people. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean you can't be, but to like care so much that you need to like create labels for your generation to like differentiate yourself from the other ones, that just makes you seem like more boomer-ish, you know, whenever you like hyperfixate on that. '16th century Squire gang. Okay. Oh wait, I have to put this into. So I installed a camera and neighbors told me that looks like I'm in similar Philip in Senior Living Center and street over, so from now I think I'm safe. I believe I saw that person and not Philip. Oh, well, that kind of ruins the story if it's not Philip. Alright, let me just run this in. I guess ChatGPT got an update. It's now ChatGPT 4.0 or whatever. 6 stories, no worries. Good luck, friend. Fix grammar. Make grammar good. Wait till you're 15, think everyone's an idiot. Yeah, that's gotta be tough. I think the weirdest feeling is like when I turn 40, 50, 60 and like seeing people become president who are like younger than me. And I'm just gonna be like, no, that person? Or imagine, I don't even know. Imagine having like gone to like high school or something with like Trump or Biden. That must be like the most frustrating experience as like an old man or woman. Apparently, after coming out of the mental hospital, he had a big fight with his girlfriend and hit her. Because she was scared, apparently she played dead, and Philip called an ambulance and the police finally had something against him. After the hearing, he was admitted again to a mental hospital, and I finally got my restraining order, and he was ordered to stay at least 30 meters away from our property. I was so glad. The restraining order also implied that if he broke any of the requirements, Orange man, ooga booga. That was a prom king, an all-star quarterback, and I was, yeah. I could throw a ball a quarter mile. I could throw a ball over the mountains for sure. I was so glad. The restraining order also implied that if he broke any of the requirements, he would go to jail. And so, it was finally over. 8 years. But only 2 years ago, What month was I born? I was born in June, so my birthday is next. My birthday is, is in 3 weeks. I think I'm going to stream on the 4th of June on a Tuesday, which will be a little bit different from the Wednesday stream, but should be freaking sweet. Favorite flavor cookie? Probably peanut butter. Your brother's June 86. Nice, dude. Oh, 84. Damn. I was so glad to... Oh, yeah. And so, after 8 long years of dealing with his crap, it was finally over. And 2 years ago, I also moved out of my parents' house. I'm posting this now because I believe I'm posting this now because I believe that I'm starting to see him again. But it can't be. He doesn't know where I live, and he also hasn't shown up at my parents' house. But I believe that I've seen him when I leave the house. I'm not sure if this is PTSD symptoms, paranoia, anxiety, or what. I just need reassurance that it's not him again, and that I'm safe in my own home. Have you heard Corpse Husband or however it's spelled? Yeah. Corpse was the OG narrator, but he's moved on to bigger, better things. What's your least favorite movie and why? Oh man, probably that Bird Box movie, because it was such dog shit, but like everybody was like jerking their peener to it for whatever reason when it came out on Netflix. It was like the worst fucking pile of poopa-doopy I think I had ever seen. Your son will be 15 June 3rd. That's crazy. Time flies. Have some fun. Do a jumping jack. There you go. All right. What do you think? You guys think that's a good story to start with? 'Cause if there's a story that you guys think is like really solid, and it should be like the headline story, let me know, because I gotta like let Robin know what thumbnail to make. What's your favorite food chain to eat at? Lately, it's been Panera Bread, just because their bread tastes really good. I fucking love bread. And if it's like cook, sometimes you get a sandwich, like even, what the fuck, Subway and shit. Like they'll heat your shit up, but it still tastes like it's been sitting around for a year, But like, Panera making just solid bread there, I presume, it tastes some good. Do I have security up the wazoo, bodyguard? Yeah, I've got like watchtower and a perimeter around my whole property. Texas Roadhouse bread is the best. It really is. I could sit down and just only eat that. They should just give you like a vat of fucking the sugary butter and just just make one giant fucking loaf of that bread. Not even like little muffins, but like one giant one that you can just like pick at. And then like a trough of the butter in front of you can just like swipe your hand at and shove in your mouth. With a little fucking DC. Little fucking DC, forget about it. Try Atlanta bread. What kind of bread they got? Is it like a specific type? Cheddar Bay Biscuits. Dude, they should just have a national holiday where all the good, appetizer breads at those restaurants, you can just go someplace and get all of them in one sit down. That's probably what heaven is, honestly. It's probably what Jesus Christ died for, to get us all limitless breadsticks and biscuits. 6 months to thaw a turkey? What are you talking about? Couldn't raise enough dough. Port of Subs makes good sandwiches, but their bread is pretty mediocre, and I think they bake their own every morning. Really? See, that's even more sad. Do I like clam bellies? I don't think I've had that before. Jersey Mike's is good quality, but so much more expensive than Subway. Yeah, it is. I do enjoy Jersey Mike's. Do they cook it there too? I assume Subway cooks it there too. Do I play video games? Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone Battlegrounds lately. I've been avoiding Overwatch because fuck Overwatch. But it's been so nice, honestly. Playing, it's just like a chill card game. Like, it's a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill, and you're just chilling. And you can play with your friends. You don't have to spend any money or anything like that. There's nobody's mad at you, Oh, yeah. Also, Animal Well. Video Game Donkey. I mentioned this before, but Video Game Donkey has that publishing company called Big Mode. And they released a game, their first game from it, called Animal Well, which is like it's a Metroidvania, like, puzzle platforming game with, like, really good pixel art and aesthetic and music and all that kind of shit. And I've been really enjoying it, honestly. No Soul games. No, I don't really like those. They're too hard. I'm not good enough. And I just don't think the juice is worth the squeeze for the Souls games. But yeah, if you guys get a chance to play Animal Well, it's like $20 or some shit. And like, I'm sure it'll be on sale at some point. But you download it, lickety-split. Heard a place called Papadoo. Their bread and butter is so good. No, I don't think so. Play World of Warcraft. My friends tried to get me into WoW Classic. Like when WoW Classic came out, I got it. I played the Hunter. I got to about level 10, and I'm like, this is so fucking boring. Like, Oh, Animal Well is free for you on PS5? That's cool. I wonder, like, does that guarantee money to, like, the publisher whenever stuff goes automatic on like a PS5 or Xbox Pass or whatever? Like, are they trying to get like the rights to it and then be able to essentially almost like a streaming service? Complete BioShock series for $15. That is a good series. I'll never understand those kinds of games. No offense to anyone who... Souls games. Souls games are just too hard. I love the aesthetic. I love the art. I love the sort of like the fact that they don't hold your hand and you kind of figure out the story on your own sort of thing. But I just don't really like the gameplay loop. It feels like oddly regressive to me. Can I say big mode again? Big mode. But yeah, I don't know. And the fact that like they figured out the formula of just like roll, hit, parry, and I know it's different and I'm sure people would like roll their eyes if they really liked the Souls stuff, but I just can't get down with it, man. Yeah, it's masochistic essentially. Pumpernickel, I don't think I've had that, honestly. Do you like Dumbledore, sneaky Snapes? Sneaky Snapes. Dark Souls is the best. I just can't, man. I can't, man, with that ant, man. Trying any kind of special diets. I've tried keto, which back in the day, I remember keto I've had like some success with. Carnivore diet sucks because I get really bad diarrhea when I tried that, and it was just to the point where people say like, oh, just give it like a week, I'm like, dude, if I give it a week, I'm gonna be like a dried up husk by the end with like dehydration. And my asshole is gonna be fucking bleeding. Like it is not an enjoyable diet. And then also, like, I remember doing the carnivore thing for like a solid week, and I remember like broccoli looked like a fucking cheat meal to me, you know? I was like, oh, if only I could have like a head of lettuce. It's like, what the fuck? So that was stupid as shit. I would not suggest anybody to do that. But honestly, at the end of the day, I've just come to the terms with the fact that it's like calories in, calories out, you know, rule of thermodynamics. And obviously your hormones play a part in that too, but as long as you stick to like whole foods and shit that doesn't fuck with your endocrine system, there's a lot of stuff that does, and you know, incorporate weightlifting and some cardio, you know, get some good sun, get some good sleep, keep your circadian rhythm good, like stay happy, stay involved, whatever, like you should be all right. Thermodynamics and aerodynamics. You gotta mix them together. I just heard a story about having an encounter with dogs, and it reminded me of... Okay. I rescued a Pitbull from a neglected family. Neglectful, sorry. I gotta scoot this over. I can't see shit. You listen to Huberman? I've listened to a lot of clips from Huberman. You know, he's not gonna tell you anything like too astounding. You know, he might just be like, if you want to experience the truest form of interbodily cellular reproductive success, you're going to want to make sure that you get to bed and make sure you have your blankie with you. You know what I mean? Like he finds ways to like overcomplicate like the most simplest concepts. Nothing against him, and I'm probably oversimplifying it, but it's just like what's really left to say anymore in the space of the like Jocko Willink's like adjacents, where it's like, wake up at 4 a.m, wrestle your daughter in jujitsu or something, spread your cheeks and let the sun bake your asshole. Like, what, you know? It's like, everybody just do your own thing, and probably not smart to like eat only Little Debbie's. Do you like Unit Fit 522? I do, yeah. I collab with him many times. Yeah, the ice bath protocol. I rescued a Pitbull from a neglectful family. She was skin and bones when she came home and extremely submissive. After a week of love and affection and food, she was the most amazing dog I have ever met. The softest, cuddliest baby who wouldn't even play fight with me unless she was under a blanket and didn't know that it was me. I needed to do a quick late-night run to my local shop. There was a 40-minute round-trip route on main roads with houses, or a 15-minute round-trip route that... or a 15-minute round-trip route through an alleyway that wraps around the back of a school field. This alleyway has no street lamps, but I hadn't ever heard of anything bad happening, so I didn't think anything of it. So I set out with my dog in tow, and just before we reached the entrance, she stood still as a rock. I gently tried to usher her to follow me, but she refused. When I took my headphones off, I realized that she was softly growling and that I could hear a group of male voices coming from the alleyway. They soon came close enough to where I could see them, and I think there were around 5 or 6 of them. Now, this was during COVID, so they were all wearing masks with their hood up. Hoods up. Hoods up. Hoods up. Do you eat chicken, steak, pork, fish, or a bit of everything? You can eat a bit of everything, yeah. I mean, I've heard people argue that, like, chicken is, like, fed different grains that have like pesticides and stuff in it, so like that ends up affecting your endocrine system, where like steak and beef is it has, like, being that it has multiple stomachs that it can go through, it can like process out those like polyunsaturated fats or some shit. I think I may, yeah, but long story short, like whatever bullshit we put on top of stuff to like that fucks up your hormones. Steak is able to like filter that out with their stomach, and then the meat is just, I guess, overall better for your hormones. I don't know. But yeah, I don't really eat fish too often, nor do I really eat pork too often either, even though I do enjoy some good fish. Did you watch the roast of Tom Brady? It just seems like comedy has gotten cringe. I mean, I can't imagine it's funny. I mean, like the roast, to me, the roast used to be some of the funniest shit ever, where it was like, say, you know, the most offensive joke you can think of, and as long as you deliver it right, it's like gonna land, you know what I mean? What would I do if I won Mega Millions? Honestly, I probably would go pretty hard into like starting up a like a animation like production company and actually bring a really solid amount of people on. Jesus fucking Christ, everything is bad for you. Well, I didn't see it yet, so I don't know if it was bad. I mean, oh, I thought you meant sorry. I know some people's chats are back, so I thought you were talking about the roast of Thomas Bradyeth. I eat Tom Brady's. They're really trying to kill us all off. I don't know. I think like in the rush to like mass produce everything, we've just made a lot of like mistakes when it comes to how we produce stuff, but now like, you know, science is starting to like catch up or whatever with it, and we can start to understand it a little bit. The only thing is like to really like, you can kind of understand the thermodynamic like theory, you know, as far as not theory, but idea of calories in, calories out, you know, pretty simplistically and mathematically. But I think it's pretty hard for people to kind of like grasp their internal hormones and how important they are for essentially creating a very thermodynamic system where, you know, if your hormones are optimal, instead of like your, you know, basal metabolic rate being 2,000, it could potentially be 2,800 calories a day. So you can get away with a lot more or lose fat way faster, you know what I mean? But to understand that, I guess you would have to look at your blood. You'd have to get blood tests done, which is cool. You can actually get blood tests pretty cheap at like different diagnostic places in town. You don't have to like go into a doctor's office. They like, it's almost like they're doing like fast food diagnostic places at this point, where you just print off a fucking, you know, little coupon and check your testosterone. What scares me the most? You know, dying would be up there, I suppose, as far as like growing up in Christian, you know, kind of culture. It's like everything sends you to hell. You know what I mean? Like everything. And even in your head, you're like, I felt like a pretty good guy. You know, like Christianity is so still, you know, like there's so many Christians that I've like from researching it that are still kind of adhere to the fire and brimstone thing. Like, well, it doesn't matter if you tried your best. Like, but it also at the same time, you know, they'll sit there and say like Jesus is the way, and, you know, forgiven past, present, and future sins. But at the same time, like, if you're doing other things poorly or sinning at some point, like, were you ever saved in the first? So it's just like this constant fucking like linguistic word game in your head that fucks. I just feel like fucks with people, to where they, you know, are like, they look at their like eternal destination after death as like this place of endless torment just because they, you know, fucking had sex or, you know, didn't stick with the faith, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and I guess it's just like the unfortunate plight, the give and take of religion, where it's like religion can be one of those things that like gives you a tremendous amount of like peace, you know, and you know, makes you treat others really well. It's not that you always need it to like guide your actions, but it can be one of those things where you like look at it and you're like, WWJD, man. And then you're like, yeah, sure, you can have $5, you fucking homeless guy, you know, or whatever. I did my deed. But at the same time, it can be something that drives you nutball, and clearly does. How much do you think the Apostle Paul benched? Well, I do know that I heard somewhere that the cross that Jesus had to carry a long ass way, it was like 3 miles or some shit, I could be wrong, was like 165 pounds, on it, like just emaciated, skinny Jesus, just like dragging that shit, you know, while also getting like whipped and kicked. And I mean, you know, whether or not all that happened, I have no fucking clue, but it sounds pretty badass. Organized religion is a no-no. Yeah, I mean, it's too much energy, you know. Like sometimes I'm like, well, if I have kids, I'd like to take them to it just to give them some sort of direction. But then I'm also like, well, what if, I don't know, what if it drives them nuts? Or because, like, you know, I don't really like to go that much, and a lot of it feels like a pain in the ass, and you have to be like really nice to people that you otherwise like probably never would even talk to. 12 years Catholic school, some of it's all girls, repressed, bisexual, the trauma is flooding. Yeah, it sounds like anybody I ever talked to growing up within like Christian sort of circles, all the Catholics, like 100% of every Catholic I've ever met, and that's, you know, nothing against them or whatever, I'm not trying to be rude, but it was very legalistic, it appeared, within the Catholic sort of circles, and all of them that I ever met was just like, fuck that shit. They're like, fuck Catholicism. Like, I hated it. It was boring. It was lame. It was made you feel bad. You know, it was just, maybe it wasn't as bad as like Mormons and that kind of thing, but, and unsubscribed. That's fine, man. I don't really care. I don't know why people feel the need to tell you that they've unsubscribed. Like, you clearly didn't like the content if like one particular thing that I said or whatever. Because I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, if you're not capable of, unless that's even what he said. Is that what he even said? I don't know. It was out of context. But now I've got a hypothetical situation in my head that I have to finish the thought with. But, like, people feel the need to tell you that they unsubscribe. But that also just because of maybe something you said. But since my content doesn't even really revolve around, like, my personality that much, all that indicates to me is that, like, you're incapable of separating the art, which is the narrations and the stories and all that kind of stuff, from the artist, the fart from the fartist, the stink from the butt. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it doesn't indicate that you have strong critical thinking skills, etc., etc. You, sir, just lost my business of sitting there and staring at ads on a television set or phone screen. When you leave the church, you realize how cult-like it is. It is, but it's like a tough, like, sort of in-between thing where you're like, it's the only, like, I realize also, like, within church, it was the only thing that, like, allows me to, it was one of the only things that allowed me to sort of take a step back and, like, self-reflect. It's not like I needed that to accomplish that, but it gave me a structured system to learn those techniques of, like, meditation, contemplating my mortality, you know, thinking about how I should treat others on a continuous basis. Like, it subconsciously implanted within my mind things and techniques that I think overall were a net benefit, but there was a lot of unfortunate side things that kind of fucked with my psyche quite a bit. Talk to the manager of YouTube. 1 star. If you have to lose an organ, what would it be? Or one of the endgame scenarios. I guess you can have my appendix. You can have that. You can have my prostate. Lab-grown chicken. Yeah, I haven't seen it, but it doesn't sound good. Same with all, like, the cricket burger bullshit. Like, I really hope that they're not, like, starting to push a big anti-meat fucking thing down your throat every day for the next 10 years. Because I know it would be, you know, it's very, it's already associated with, like, political, but it's also already associated with, like, the ethical argument, you know what I mean? So it's all, the stages are all set there to start demonizing meat to the fullest extent. I just hope that people are able to be like, how about you go fucking die? I think a lot of people use religion as an excuse for bigotry. My religion as a concept isn't harmful, but it often gets weaponized by bad actors. I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, there's certain personality types that are going to gravitate towards like certain power structures, not because they believe it or adhere to those things, even though the repetitious actions of it might eventually compartmentalize it within their head to believing that they believe it, but it's sometimes just an excuse to enact their internal anger or angst in a way that's in their mind socially acceptable. Because I noticed that a lot with like politics more recently, where like people will say that their politics are, it's the same kind of like thinking where there's like a cult-like thinking, but then there's also political like cult-like thinking, where a lot of people will say like they justify their hatred in the name of fighting, in the name of fighting bigotry or whatever it is. They are like some of the most like hateful, spiteful, angry, bad people, but they're using the political spectrum that's deemed at the time to be like the correct side or like the morally superior side as a manner in which to enact their internalized anger or whatever it might be, and it's weird because I mean, I guess if you continuously tell yourself that like it's okay to hurt someone because it's to fight against them, potentially hurt someone or whatever, or like say something mean against someone because I'm fighting against their hypothetical chance of like being bad or whatever, that means that you've never actually spoken to the person. You don't really understand them as an individual. You understand them as how you labeled them in your head or whatever. And it's just odd. It's like people will jump through as many fucking mental hoops as possible to essentially just to like end up being a sociopath any fucking ways, So it's so cringe. Ever work out on Adderall? I've never taken Adderall. I'm like terrified of Adderall. I'm like, my friend has offered me Adderall in the past, but like I like caffeine and I like nicotine pouches and shit, that I'm like terrified that I'm gonna try fucking legal meth and be like, this is awesome, I need more, and then I like start to think people are kidnapping my kids and shit, and they're like, you don't have any kids. I'm like, the future ones, the future kids, you're taking them, I can see you. You see it as usefulness. Adderall's the best, but it doesn't help me so much. Yeah, I don't have kids, no, but I'm just trying to illustrate that I'm afraid that it could potentially be something that I like too much and end up abusing it, whether it's on purpose or a fucking like insidious slow, go from 10 milligrams a day to 160. You know what I mean? Like, and some doctor or pharmacy is like, sure, here's more. That was you with nicotine, yeah. Can't abuse it, you'd kill yourself. I mean, I know, I'm literally, as I'm saying that, I know examples of people right now in my real life that abuse Adderall, 160 milligrams a day. It literally manifested their, a schizophrenia that they didn't even know that they had, whether it was caused by the excess use of the drug, but it fucked them up pretty bad, and I don't know if they can come back from it, to be honest with you. It's pathetic. I don't, it's sad. It's what it is. It's like, I have no idea how that person became in that position, but I assume it works in a similar pharmacokinetic, fashion to typical methamphetamines. However that addiction biological processes works, it doesn't work that time, so you take more, and it didn't work that time, so you take more. I'm not saying that's the same for everybody. Everybody reacts differently, but that's their anecdotal experience with it, and it's very, very, it destroyed their family, It fucking fucked up their whole family. Think of pineapple on pizza. I kind of like pineapple on pizza. It's not going to be my like go-to, but I like the mixture of like salty everything mixed with some sweet little fruit. It's pretty good. What's up, Back Off? How you doing? I stopped taking Adderall for the most part because I've done other drugs previously. I was getting worried about cardiovascular issues. Oh, that's true too. It can be life-changing if you're using it properly, though. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's helped a lot of people to like lock the fuck in. And, you know, if it does for you, then I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm just going to say, yeah, be careful. Zin pouches, what's the best flavor? I like the fucking wintergreen ones. And you know the weirdest reason why I like it is because the smell reminds me of my dad. As weird as that sounds, like my dad used to chew wintergreen going up, like tobacco and shit, which I didn't think, you know, he thankfully doesn't do it anymore, but just that scent, you know, that smell, it like brings me back to like a childhood sort of memory of fucking wintergreen spit. Not that he spit it on me or whatever, but you get the idea. Do you believe in skinwalkers, any cryptids? You know, I don't know about the skinwalkers because there's so many different definitions of them. And the fact that, like, I don't know, it's supposedly like a shape-shifting medicine man type. Do I chew? No, I just use the Zins, the nicotine pouches. I don't think I could ever chew. That shit fucks up your gums and blah. And it would just make me nauseous. But, yeah, you know, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that. I'm not, you know, discounting it from the possibility, the realm of possibility. I think that Bigfoot makes a little bit more sense in the, you know, possibility that it's like some sort of ape creature, you know, that's bipedal and fucking huge and intelligent enough to avoid humans or whatever. Joel's married to the money. Yeah, for show. For show. Marriage is very scary to me, honestly. I just lately, like, sometimes I think, I'm like, man, I could have been one of those people that like got married like super early after college or whatever the fuck. Am I a Zen man? No, I actually have, what's it called? On, or as they say around here, on. But you know what? I'm gonna throw one in right now that you say it. Hopefully it doesn't make me shit my pants. David Paulides did some DNA work with scientists and they came back as unique but human. Wait, does that mean that the Bigfoot samples they got or whatever were like inconclusive or whatever? Okay, where was I? My mom always told me that if I found myself... Wait, fuck. Zin has a pretty nice reward point system with some pretty cool things. Oh, wait, like not like separate from the stores they distribute in, like their own little point system? Like how much... What if you just went around collecting like Zin fucking packets? Could you just like scan all the QR codes on the back and get a free one or something? You like the background? Thank you, Rob. Robin made it. This was during COVID, so they were all wearing masks with their hoods up. My mom always told me that if I found myself in a situation like this to not act scared. Being scared shows that you are an easy target. And with that in mind, I tugged firmly on my dog's lead to get her to follow me. She stuck to my side, literally pressing her body against my leg as I walked. I should not have put that fucking on in my mouth, but it's there now. One of the things when you're like narrating and stuff, you build up a bunch of like saliva and it just gets in the fucking way. Jacob Creamy Appleby. Yeah, did I say his name right? She stuck to my side, literally pressing her body against my leg as I walked. Yes, it was awkward. Yes, I had to try very hard to walk normally. She was quietly growling the whole time. The men had stopped and were standing slightly off the path to one side at this point. They were talking quietly amongst themselves as we walked by. I couldn't really hear much as my heartbeat was pounding in my ears and my gut was screaming at me. Once I knew that I was at a point where the darkness of the alley made me essentially invisible, I heard one of them raise their voice slightly and said, "Nah, that's a pit," in a way that sounded like he was disagreeing, coming after me. Now, they could have just been discussing the breed of my dog. That is a likely scenario. But the gut feeling I had while walking past and for the duration of my walk through the alley makes me believe otherwise. I think that these men were discussing possibly robbing me, or even worse. And my soft baby, who was literally scared of her own reflection, deterred them due to being an aggressive, quote-unquote, breed. It safely... I should have said the quote-unquote after the fucking... or before the aggressive part. Amy with the 10, 1 out of 2, says, I've been stressed out of most of my adult life with that my career hasn't taken off and that I struggle financially. It takes my focus away from exercising consistently and I stress eat. Amy with another 10, and then 2 out of 2 says, about 40 pounds overweight, I want to fix it, but I don't know how to deal with my career financial stress so I can be consistent with diet and fitness. Any suggestions? Well, that is a tough thing because I would say that's kind of a philosophical question. You know what I mean? Like, I understand. It's like if this is not this, then this kind of like problem. And really, at the end of the day, you just have to figure out how to not stress eat. And I know that sounds like a pain in the ass, but I'm also thinking that like avoiding the stress eating, because sometimes I'll do stress eating, not necessarily that I'm stress eating, but just I love to fucking gorge on food, and I have no like self-control sometimes. And but after I do it, usually I feel like a big pile of poopy, and that when you feel like a big pile of poopy, the last thing you want to do at that moment is like, all right, let me go address my financial and career goals, so it might be, who knows, maybe if you focus first on just like staying consistent and disciplined to said exercise and appropriate eating within your calorie limits with like whole foods, healthy foods, that kind of shit. Who knows, maybe you're a manifestation of having like a healthy diet and feeling confident in yourself from like either weight loss or just feeling better from what you eat, and avoiding that stress eating might manifest into you having the motivation and the ability to focus on career and financial things. So that's almost like maybe start on that side of the solution prior to getting to the workout stuff. So who knows, maybe you could even turn their fitness journey into like a monetized thing via like video vlogging or something of that nature. Stop Motion Man, thank you for the 2 months. Well, thank you again, Amy, by the way, for the 2 10s there. Stop Motion Man with the 2 months. It's a few lives ago we listened to the Friday theme, but a better song theme is the 3008 Saturday theme and any north of the border background music. Friday theme. What was the Friday theme, like from the movie Friday? But yeah, remind me next time. And also, I think sometimes like with your food habits, like getting an app like MyFitnessPal is really helpful because it has like every food in there, and you can like look up like Panera, Baconator bullshit, and it will have like the exact calorie and macronutrients there, and you just press the plus sign and you add that, and it will remember it for later on the off chance you have it again. You can set your weight and your body fat percentage and your goal weight, and it will tell you how many calories you need, approximately based on your height and age and all that kind of shit. It's not like completely on point, but yeah, the MyFitnessPal is, in my opinion, like one of the best things you can get, because once you see things written down in the same way that like a prisoner in a communist Chinese camp like writes down that they are not a fan of the United States over and over again. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's like a psychological exercise that the more you write something down, your goals, your tracking, eventually it becomes second nature to where that becomes your identity. So if you say, I will be this, while also taking the steps necessary to become that, it might amplify the mental struggles that you otherwise have been struggling to overcome. use Noom. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, any app that helps you kind of like see it, and then once you get your foods logged in for like a day, a week, and you can kind of like get a gauge on like, okay, these are the calories that I'm going for, and these are the foods that I've had. You almost like don't even need the app eventually because you're like sort of good to go. Your story from 2 days ago has a lot of repeats in the last hour. Story from 2 days ago. Maybe it was the compilation, or was it? Solly with the 5 says, I eat because I'm happy. I'm happy because I eat. God, yeah. If there's anybody I can relate to the most in Austin Powers, it's Fat Bastard for sure. What a fucking great name, too. I think that these men were discussing possibly robbing me, or worse. And my soft baby, who was literally scared of her own reflection, deterred them due to her being an aggressive breed. It's safe to say that we walked the long way home. Seafood. I see food. I eat it. That's true. That's true too, Sonny. Your body gets used to anything, that's 100% true. Like you start to, like if you start to like maybe you're hungry, you need a snack at night. Maybe switch to like pistachios. That's one thing my one friend always does, and he's like jacked. Is when he starts to get snacky at the end of the night, he'll get like the salt-covered pistachios that you have to like fucking uncrack or whatever. And just the process of like having to uncrack them, throw them into a little cup, eat the thing, uncrack them, you know what I mean? That actually like limits your overall consumption. And then eventually you start to like look forward to eating your little pistachios as a little snack at night because it doesn't affect you too much, and it's like a healthy fats sort of alternative. Yeah, drink water. There you go. I find that counting calories and dieting doesn't usually stick, but lifestyle changes do. That's true too. You know, maybe stick to a concept of like, well, we're gonna do whole foods with like one ingredient. You know what I mean? Or shit that's not like heavily processed in a box, like Wheaties or some shit. You know. In the morning, have some berries with honey on it. My favorite fucking thing. When to take creatine morning with coffee? Yeah, that's fine. You know, 5 grams a day, I believe. Also, I'm going to read this next story and then I'm going to go to the bathroom. Because something about the fucking nicotine pouch is just like, it does a little something to my gutty works. What time is it for me? It is 11:40 p.m. on the East Coast. What does creatine do? It basically speeds up the process that your like body is able to convert. I think it's in the cell, right? Within the cell, it's able to convert ADP back into ATP, which then it uses ATP for like energy. So the people that benefit the most from using creatine tend to be people who lift weights and people who do like long distance cardio. But honestly, it has a lot of other benefits. Some people say it has like neurological benefits as well. Nicotine is a nootropic. Yeah, more like a poo-tropic. Making me poop. When I was 19, I worked nights at this terrible hotel. That sounded weird. Hotel. When I was 19, I worked nights at this terrible hotel chain in my hometown, and it was generally pretty chill. You get your weirdos and creeps, but I can handle my own, and I got used to it pretty quickly. However, this guy was way worse than anything I had encountered up until that point. It was an average night. I spent checking in guests, doing laundry, stocking, etc. And there were 2 sets of doors at the entrance, the inner ones being locked after night shift starts. This dude shows up at around 3 a.m. and rings me through the lobby phone set between the 2 doors. Immediately before I can even get my customer service face on, he starts frantically demanding I call medical transport, which I didn't really know what he was talking about, but I try to help him the best I can, asking questions. Eventually, I just let him in so I can get a better idea of how to help, but when I did... I'm sorry, guys. This was such a bad idea to throw one of these in. Me spitting probably sounds gross. Snake oil? What did I do? Am I selling you snake oil? What did I do to you? Eventually, I just let him in so I can get a better idea of how to help, but when I do, his whole tone immediately changes. He starts speaking in this monotone voice and has this kind of dead stare. I don't know how to describe it. I've never seen eyes so void of all emotions. And not to mention, he had no physical signs of injury at all. Obviously, I was freaked out, but tried my best to carry on normally, asking him more questions. After the first 2 questions, he just stops answering completely and continues staring. I keep repeating myself, and still, he's just staring. At this point, I'm kind of fed up with him, so I say, "Alright, I'm just going to call 911 to get you help." He then starts getting frantic again, going between begging me not to call and saying they won't let me go, and I can't go back there. I tell him that I'm really not sure how to help him if he won't let me call emergency services, so he needs to leave. He didn't even seem to need medical assistance in the first place. This guy goes right back to ignoring everything I say and is just staring blankly. Honestly, I should have just called the police right then, but I was overwhelmed by him, and getting police involved is always a last resort for me, so I say, "You can rest here for 20 minutes and try to find alternative transportation, but then you gotta go." And I go into the back to watch him on the cameras. 20 minutes go by and I come out to tell him to leave, but he starts arguing nonsensically. I go back into the back in just exasperation. The cycle then repeats for like 2 more hours. Finally, I tell him I'm just calling the police, to which he replies, "Well, if you're going to be like that, I'll just leave." At this point, stuff was just comical. I'm like, "Please do, I've wanted that the whole time." And I was so done with him, so I basically am yelling at this point. He finally leaves. I did call the cops and I report him. And the freakiest part of that, while telling my boyfriend at the time about this guy, he recognizes him from the description of his creepy stare and pulls up his mugshot with charges for assault on a woman and a bunch of other insane stuff. My then boyfriend worked at a homeless shelter for some years and had seen the guy from time to time. After that, I felt so lucky that he was just a weird, creepy annoyance at me for the time. Oops. Your dog eats cores, like apple cores? Is the seeds bad for him? Are apples good for dogs? After that, I felt so lucky that he was just a weird, creepy annoyance for me. Who knows what would have gone down in different, more aggressive circumstances. Alright. I will be right back, guys. Poop screen. Joel's laying an egg. Laying a big brown egg. Oh, alright. What's up, dudes? We're back. We're so back. What mic do I use of its grips? The mic that I'm using right now that you're hearing me talk into is a Neumann TLM 103 or something like that. But the one that you hear into the videos record into is an H4n Pro, which is like a field recorder, but it just sounds like really good. And Sully with a 5 says, who does number 2 work for? Who does number 2 work for? Who does number 2 work for? Do I fix mistakes in my videos? Yeah, I have to edit it all together and stuff later, usually tomorrow, the day of video uploads. Oh shit. Phil Rubal with the big 25. Thank you, Phil. Thanks for creating a dope community here and hanging out with us weekly. Joel, glad to have found your channel 4 months ago, and also for getting me through the work days with your Jacob Creamy Applebee's stories. You're welcome, my friend. Thank you so much for the 25er. Appreciate you guys. I jump scared you. Easy peasy. Alright, guys, we're Gucci. I don't think I'm going to buy any more of those nicotine pouches, to be honest. I don't think that's a good habit to start forming. Sometimes I would throw it in while I play games, but I think it just creates, like, anxiety. But I guess it does help you take a shit if you're, like, waiting for that. My childhood best friend, Marie, and I were around 11 or 12 years old at the time. Marie's family had their own campsite in a provincial park about 2 hours from our hometown, and would spend the entire summer each year living in their camper out there. This particular summer, I was able to go and stay with them for a week, and we were excited to spend our time adventuring around the forest. On the last night that I was there, we decided that we wanted to hurry down to the ice cream shop by the lake before it closed. It was early evening at this point, still pretty bright out, but beginning to lose light. The path we took was down a short slope right next to the main road with maybe 10 feet of thick brush and trees in between. On the other side was the forest with more tall, thick brush. We were walking along, not seeing a single other person on the path in front or behind us. We hear a sudden rustling and snapping of branches, similar to the sound of maybe a deer moving through the woods. I wouldn't have thought of anything of it, but then the sound of running footsteps follows. Marie glances back and suddenly grabs my arm, urging me under... Okay, I'm thinking actually that this story might actually be the headliner, because it's like getting right to the point, and I won't tell you the title so I don't spoil it. But, what's up, Joker? But, I'm feeling good about it. Ever thought about narrating a book? Yeah, but it just takes too much time. A habit, spitting into a cup. Well, it's not just a habit, it's like... Or it's not spitting in the cup, it's potentially developing an addiction to nicotine. Marie glances back and suddenly grabs my arm, urging me under her breath not to look back. At the time, the running stops, and I don't know why I didn't ignore her and get a look myself. I guess I could sense the very real fear in her voice and chose not to. Why do I keep saying chose not? Sorry. It's like clean chew. Yeah, it's like clean chew, essentially. It's supposed to just be like only nicotine and not all the like irritant, cancer-causing tobacco and fiberglass or whatever else is in chew. Smoke a cigar, yeah, just sit here on stream puffing a fucking cigar. I guess I could sense the very real... Why does I have like a speech impediment when I read that? I guess I could sense the very real... Let me... Fuck. So for my birthday stream, what do you guys think I should do? Do you think I should just like narrate stories like normal and just say birthday stream? And then like maybe afterwards, after we finish recording, maybe play some games or some shit. Or maybe we could just do like, we'd react to scary stuff, get drunk. I don't want to drink, dude. I did it before and it was... Take acid. Oh man. I don't think you guys would want to see me on acid. Legitimately, if I took some sort of like really hard drug like that, I would like end this or leave the stream on and probably just like wander out into the rain. We should do what you want to do. That's true. I ask you guys when in reality I already have the answer in my head. React to videos. Videos. Marie, oh fuck, where was I? Oh yeah, Jesus Christ. I guess I could sense the very real fear in her voice and chose to listen. We both start to panic, getting that feeling like when you're running up the stairs after turning the basement light off. We pick up speed as much as we can without breaking into a sprint, knowing the ice cream shop is only a minute walk away at this point. The path soon breaks. And get a girlfriend for the stream. The path soon breaks and we're in the parking. Oh man. Gemini season. I can't even focus. Honestly, this shit, I don't even know. The path soon breaks and we're in a parking lot. Suddenly Marie steers me hard to the left, heading towards the lake and the boat rental instead of continuing straight to the ice cream shop, and I go along with it, silently understanding ice cream is no longer an interest right now. Marie is clearly panicking at this point. We're both looking around, but it seems whatever scared her is nowhere in sight at this point. Marie walks up to the boat rental and gets us a kayak, and we climb in and begin to paddle out into the middle of the lake. As we paddle, she tells me that there was a man behind us, and that the man had stopped running at us very abruptly upon making eye contact with her. He had been wearing a long black coat with a hood up, despite it being in the middle of July, had a terrible smirk on his face, and she swore that he had stopped running. And she swore that as she stopped running, she saw him put something shiny away in his coat. It appeared to have just emerged and it appeared. He appeared to have just emerged out of the bushes after we walked past, given the sounds that we had heard right at he. Okay. Oh, fuck. He appeared to have just emerged out of the bushes after we walked past, given the sounds that we heard right before he came running onto the path. We reached the center of the lake and stopped paddling. I pull out my Nokia brick phone that my parents had, thank God. I pull out my Nokia brick phone that my parents had. Why does it, man, I don't know why the fuck this grammar, like it's actually good grammar, but it's like the way it's just confusing my brain. I pull out my Nokia brick phone that my parents had, thank God, given me just in case. I hand it to Marie and I tell her to call her parents to come pick us up. As the phone rings, I see her look out past me to the shore and just go completely pale, lifting a hand to point at what she's seeing. I turn, and there was the man, stalking his way around the path that circled the edge of the lake, staring out towards us. We sat in the middle of the lake and watched him do 2 full laps, never looking away from us, before finally disappearing. It took a few tries to get a hold of her family. We were freaking out so bad the whole time as the sun got lower and lower. We did manage to have someone come with the truck, but by that time, we reached the shore and it was pretty dark outside. I don't know what we would have done if we hadn't been able to call for a ride. And looking back, I don't know why we didn't just go up to the ice cream shop and inform an adult there. Write a song about Let's Read? Hell yeah, dude, write it up. Looking back, I don't know why we just didn't go up to the ice cream shop, inform an adult there, and ask her parents to come get us then. But it worked out and we got back safe, and we thankfully never saw that hooded man again. Alright, maybe, yeah. Let me message Robin real quick and tell him that Alright, Jesus, that took way longer than I expected. Band hoodies, yeah, they're too creepy. I, a 21-year-old female, live with my grandparents in a large city on a busy road. I was just in bed when I heard the doorbell ring and I was about to answer it, but my grandpa got to the door before me, and I'm now so glad that he did. I couldn't see the front door from the hallway, but when he opened it, I heard a woman say, "Hi, my name is Taylor. I think I know you." I didn't recognize that name, and my grandpa didn't either, because he told her that he definitely didn't know her. He asked how he could help her, and I heard him open the door wider and then her quick footsteps as she ran away. After she left, I came out to ask my grandpa what had happened, and he told me about the interaction with a very puzzled look, and I immediately recognized it as suspicious. We have a Ring doorbell, so we pulled up the video that it had taken. It showed a young woman covered in tattoos approaching our yard. As she walks up, she whistles loudly to someone off camera. I watch as my grandpa opens the door and she says that she thinks she knows him. Now, my grandpa is a retired police officer, and tonight he happens to be wearing his t-shirt with the name of our city's police department. When he opens the door wider, she notices his shirt because her eyes widen, and that's when she ran away. I watch as the video shows her holding up her arms, crossed in an X while she's running away, and a few seconds later, a man crawls out from behind my car, parked outside, and follows her. Then, the woman can be heard whistling again as they walk down the block. My grandpa called the non-emergency police line to report suspicious activity, and 2 officers arrived 15 minutes later to hear our statements and watch the video. They seemed to agree that these were probably 2 addicts. Am I saying that right? Addicts? It's an addict. Addicts. It's hard to say it with an S because of my lisp. They seem to agree that These were probably two addicts working together, casing out the neighborhood to see which houses they could break into. Since there was no proof of a crime committed, the officers gave us an email to send the video to and left. I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I, a 5'3", 100%. I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I, a 5'3", 100-pound, 21-year-old young woman, had been the one to answer the door instead of my grandpa, a 6'2" ex-military retired police officer. Sketchy liquor. I hate that "let's not meet" ending. It's so cringe. I can't help but wonder what would have happened if I, a 5'3", 100-pound, 21-year-old young woman, had been the one to answer the door instead of my grandpa, a 6'2" ex-military retired police officer. Thank God he sketched out that very creepy couple lurking around my neighborhood. Let's meet. I was about 12. Me and my mom had gone down to a town 45 minutes out to do some shopping with some of her friends. I had a corn snake at the time, so I asked her if I could walk around a pet store one door down from the mini supermarket that she was shopping at and to compare the prices of frozen mice with our local seller. She said sure, just to come back as soon as I was done. The pet store had been there as long as I can remember. It had a very warehouse feel about it and was poorly lit by dim fluorescent lights too far above the floor. Before checking out the mice, I just wanted to check out the rest of the store, being the curious 12-year-old that I was. As I was roaming the aisles, I noticed. Oh, she's apparently addressing the guy directly. That's kind of a weird grammatical decision. Pussy in bio. Miss Rage 96. What do I want to do for my birthday? I'll probably just... I think one of the things that I failed with last year in doing gaming for my birthday was, one, get drunk. And too drunk for that. But also, not as many people were interested because I was gaming and not reading stories, so... If anything, I'll probably be reading stories and then afterwards just, react to some scary videos and maybe do some gaming if time permits. If time permits. As I was roaming the aisles, I noticed you. You were in every aisle I strolled down. Bald, middle-aged, a bit tubby, wearing dark blue plumber's overalls. Wearing dark blue plumber overalls over a white shirt. It was summer and it was hot, not remembering why on earth you would come into a non-air-conditioned building like that. You carried a basket, but there was nothing in it. As you slowly stalked me down the aisles, I noticed your basket wasn't getting any more full. I started walking faster, taking random turns down different aisles to see if I was just being paranoid, but you were always 10 to 15 feet behind me. At some point, I finally thought that I lost you. I walked out of the pet store, and as soon as I cleared the doors, I sprinted down the street to the mini supermarket my mum was in. She hadn't even made it down the second aisle completely, and I caught up with her, immediately stripped off my bright pink hoodie and slung it into the cart, as well as ripped the hair tie out of my hair. I was smart for doing that because when I looked back at the door, there you were, standing there, still carrying the basket from the pet store and scanning this store for any sight of a 12-year-old girl in a bright pink hoodie and ponytail. When we left, I saw you in your van as you drove away, a plain white van like something out of a true crime documentary or horror film. And I think about you sometimes, and how if you'd caught me before I got to that supermarket on that quiet Wednesday afternoon, what horrors could have been waiting for me, in the back of that van. Chunky Nug for birthday stream. I thought about it. I'm still thinking about it. I don't even know where to acquire such nugs, to be honest with you, since I don't really partake too often. The dark web story was fucked up. Yeah, unfortunately the video was age gated because it was just too spooky. No dispensaries there. Yeah, but I don't know if you need a marijuana license or whatever to purchase it. Wasn't my live supposed to be yesterday? No, I release Mondays and Thursdays now, so streams are the day before uploads. Will I have my favorite food? Potentially. I thought y'all had medical or recreational. I don't know, dude. It's hard to say. If your state has legal recreational. I wonder if we can look it up. Is Pennsylvania legal? I don't even know. Legalizing weed. Whoop. It depends. Recreational marijuana coming to PA legislator takes first step towards legalization. Lawmakers are set to take the first step towards legalizing recreational marijuana in Pennsylvania. A hearing scheduled Monday, and this was from February. Oh, this is from 2022. So wait, what is it now? Can anybody look that up and figure it out if what the laws are in PA? Hootie, welcome back for 29 months. It says, I need some positive vibes. One of my rados just suddenly passed in my arms just now. Oh, I'm sorry, Hootie. Apologize for that, but good to see you back. You can buy THC legally, and it's literally straight up weed. Okay. Wait, THCA? What's THCA? You would disagree on the THCA. Yeah, I don't really know if I want to try any chemical adjacents. This happened about 2 years ago when I was 19. I'm a female and had just moved out of student accommodation into an actual flat with my friend group of 6. The night we moved in, it was just me and one of the girls I'm close friends with, Lucy. I had my boyfriend over at the time, Alec, and the other people who were moving in 2 weeks later as they were all on various holidays or visiting home, so it was just the 3 of us. Lucy was in her room and Alec and I were smoking a joint in bed watching kung fu movies. Him and I start to notice a man, around 300 pounds and 6 foot, pacing outside our window and looking in occasionally. We're on a basement floor at this time, but the windows are on ground level. Okay, that's weird, but we'll just make sure that the windows are locked. 20 or so minutes pass and everything seems okay until Lucy runs into my room and says, "Babe, there's a man in the house." We left the doors unlocked by accident. Chills immediately run through my body, and I'm like, "What do you mean there's a man in the house?" And Alec is frozen solid. Me and Lucy go into the hall, and the huge man, who we saw looking into the windows, is in our hall, and we ask, "What are you doing here?" And he pulls out his phone and shows us a text message from an unsaved number with our address written on it, and something about people being inside. What in God's name? He tells us he's looking for his girlfriend and that she lives here, and we're just like, "No, she does not. Please remove yourself from our home." He says okay, and that he'll phone his girlfriend, and he turns his phone to low volume, and he's speaking to clearly another man on the phone who is clearly not his girlfriend. With more urgency this time, we tell him to get out of our house, and he says okay. He leaves, we lock the door, and everyone is just shaking. He's still on the phone to this man outside, and I can hear them speaking a language that we don't understand, but we can hear him getting angry. I tell Alec to please make that scary man go away, and he goes outside and tells him to shift away from our doorway as he's really scaring us. He says okay, and his taxi is here. He walks up a dead-end street where no taxis go, and again we're like, what is going on? We tell our upstairs neighbors who had met earlier who we had met earlier that day about the whole ordeal. We call them Charlotte, Matt, and Rob, and they inform us that the same man had tried to come into their house, insisting his girlfriend lived there. Charlotte already had a boyfriend who we knew of and had also met that day. Rob has more balls than all of us and threatened him with a knife the next time he came to their house, and he never bothered them again. Over the next couple of weeks, the man would occasionally come back and look into our bedroom window. Alec was there most times, I'm so glad for that, and I have no doubt that he'd try the door again, but it was always locked after that. You have medical, but you can go to Jersey or New York for recreational. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm really that motivated to get some marijuana, to be honest with you. Maybe I could ask somebody else for some or something, if I even remember. Where did you hear this one before? Maybe some other narrator. This one's from a while ago, over a year ago. Might have heard it on, like, another narrator's. What's the average RPM for horror channels, if you don't mind me asking? P.S. Hello from Scotland. 5:18 a.m. right now. RPM? I'm not really sure. Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble just trying to get weed for the first time. And I remember me and some friends, like, a couple of years ago went to, like, Massachusetts just to go there because they had legal marijuana and just smoking at the hotel, and that was fun. Am I too old to listen to Joel? Oh boy, I think the younger generation doesn't realize how hip and cool and wise us old folk are. So screw you, young people, and Joel, you are cool. Thanks, dude. I think you're just fine. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Man in the house. Doot, doot, doot. There's a murder case in UAE that happened a week ago. I hope you read it. Yeah, what happened? Sometimes if it's like a true crime thing, it's probably best to let it play out before you report on it. When I was 18 and freshly broken up with my way older boyfriend, I basically went crazy with dating guys. At the time, I also dressed very goth, even going as far as to wear real I went straight goth. At the time, I also dressed very goth, even going as far as to wear a real corset and trench coat, mostly just enjoying the attention. One particular afternoon, my friend and roommate at the time decided to eat at a local Japanese restaurant, with both of us all dressed up. Our waiter was a mediocre, skinny white guy who clearly was a little alternative, but it was guard. She wrote guard. I thought that was like a silly form of other word or something. Like gonna say like guard, awfully cute. Our waiter was a mediocre, skinny white guy who was clearly a little alternative, but it was hard to really tell with the uniform. We joked about me leaving my phone number on the receipt or something, so I hyped myself up and did so. And late that night, he sent me a text message. We talked for a few days, never really having a right time to meet up as I worked 40 minutes away from where I lived. He mentioned the boots that he wore meant a lot to him and some other odd things that just seemed like edgy jokes. One really late night coming home, I was texting and driving, as any 18-year-old does, and we decided to meet up. My stupid self invited him over to my apartment where it was just me and the roommates who had been with me before. Our other two roommates were not home. At first it was fine because I was already drunk, so I could just let him rant about whatever he wanted to. He went on about his life, going to jail, medical bills, his parents, etc. And eventually he asked me if I wanted to see his tattoos, and I was like, okay. He lifted up his shirt, and not only could I see the handgun tucked in his waistband, but also his multiple badly covered up Nazi tattoos. One was even just slightly covered with a banana. Banana, the monkey Nazis. Banana Nazi checking in. It's like Donkey Kong with a swastika on his forehead. One was even just slightly covered with a banana. I don't know what it was, but I simply decided the best way to deal with this situation was to appease him, so I went along with it casually. I don't remember exactly every detail because it was over 2 years ago and I was drunk, but he ended up pulling his gun out and putting it to my head, asking me if I was scared. I was immensely confused and tried to call his bluff, saying I wasn't, which got him to put it away for a while. When we went to hook up and my What? Put a gun to your head and you're like, let's go make out. Jesus Christ. This guy's got the Nazi riz. It's like the worst possible scenario. Oh, a serial killer. Perfect. Just my type. What's up, Iris? How you doing? When we went to hook up in my messy room, he pulled it on me again, saying he wanted to do it. Oh my God. When we went to hook up in my messy room, he pulled it on me again, saying he wanted to do it with it out. I got mad and tried to fight him off of me and get it away from my head. Of course, I wasn't as strong as him, and he hit me in the arm with it, which that hurt because it was a nice one. When I finally got him off me and he realized that I was angry, not scared, he started acting like a crackhead, saying I was crazy for not caring about him pulling a gun on me. And he ran off, jumping the fence of the apartment complex and not even taking his car that he had came in. In the morning, his car was gone and I had a large bruise from where he had hit me. While to me this has become a funny story, I now realize how bad it could have ended up. What the fuck? While to me this has become a funny story, I now realize how bad it could have ended up. Just another day in the life of a goth. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Capricorn all the way. I'm just the Capricorn. I like guns to my head. Yeah, she's the crackhead at that point. Leaving my friend's house, I accidentally backed into a brick mailbox. My bike rack hit the mailbox, so my car was okay, but completely demolished the mailbox. No big deal, right? That's why we have insurance, right? I went to the neighbor and told them what happened and gave them my insurance, phone number, and my name. All I got was his first name, and from the get-go, this dude was creepy. He kept hitting on me, trying to date me, specifically trying to, quote, feed me. I left on my drive to my mom's. I'm attending an out-of-state college and the parents are divorced. The guy I backed into, Robert, began to text me and call me. He was insistent that it was better for both of us to just pay out of pocket for the mailbox, sending me links to companies that could fix it for $500 and demanding I go on a date with him so I could give him the cash for the repair and he could feed me. I don't know what his deal was with the food, and I declined everything, but started to get annoyed by his constant texts and calls. Finally, after 2 days of it with responses only consisting of, "Please contact my insurance," I sent him a text saying that he was harassing me. I blocked him, but he made a new number and threatened to report it as a hit and run to the police. I'm in law school, okay, and this was definitely not a hit and run. I blocked the second number, and then he used a new number to ask me if I wanted him to send a screenshot or video of the accident to his insurance. I admit this made me angry, and I called this number and dug my nail so hard into my thigh that I drew blood as he threatened reporting things, asking me on a date, and trying to entice me to just pay cash. I finally screamed, "Do not contact me again, you inbred monster." My dad heard me and was upset that I had said that to someone that I was in an accident with and that I said that to the guy who thought that I was cute and just wanted to date, and I blocked that third number. The next day he reaches out again to tell me that Joel, don't get drunk and stream. Just listen to the last time you did that. Ignore what chat when you screw them. Bad idea. Yeah, no, we ain't going. We staying off the sauce. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Oh, what's up, Shell? Shellington? Seashell? Next morning, super early, I got a text, basically saying that he finished the claim and I was awful for making it harder than it needed to be by going through insurance and not going on a date with him. He then included, "You're so beautiful and ugly at the same time. Don't take risks. Stay on a good path. Goodbye." At this point, I got scared, and that was the 5th number I blocked. Then at midnight, he texts me, "You up? I know where you live. Don't try and screw me over on insurance. I'll report it as a hit and run. You should have just gone on a date with me." I took the phone to my dad, showed him the text, and filmed him. I filmed my father's reaction. I took the phone to my dad, showed him the text, and filled him in. My dad, a pretty scary dude, then calls the guy, and he answered. "Shoot, I knew you were into me. You want to come over?" he says. My dad got very angry. My dad said that this was beyond harassment. This was his final warning to not contact me, that we didn't care how we reported it, etc. Robert began saying that I came on to him and offered him intimacy as payment, invited him to my house, none of which happened. Instantly blocked, police contacted, insurance notified, all of these things. And the next day, I talked to insurance, protective order filed, and got another text telling me that I shouldn't have involved police. I think I read this before. I don't remember this one. Usually I kind of almost instantly start to recognize if a story is, but it might be on someone else's channel for sure. The next day, I talk to insurance, protective order is filed, and I get another text telling me I shouldn't have involved police. Block 7th number, notify police, go to stay at my dad's because the dude doesn't have this address, and my dad is a very tall, scary dude who loves his Second Amendment. Now, late last night, I'm watching the Star War with my dad. Oh dang, it's Robbie. Thank you. Good to see you. So late last night, I'm watching Star Wars with my father and older brother, and the doorbell rings. My dad goes to see who it is, and it's that Robert guy with a trash bag filled with things saying that I left these at his house. I call the police, and my dad goes ballistic. All of the things. The police come, they arrest the guy. And the bag, you're probably asking yourself? It's filled with lingerie, a knife, lip balm, and Dita Von Tess' fetish book. I just met with an attorney. And the plot twist to all of this? The guy doesn't own the house, is an illegal immigrant, and is married, and is now being deported. I feel awful that he's being deported. I genuinely think that... What? Listen to these two subsequent sentences, one after another. I feel awful he's being deported. Period. I genuinely think he wanted to rape and or kill me. Period. Where's the logic? I had a very strong feeling this guy wanted to do the worst possible things to me. It sucks that he's being sent very far away from me. What the fuck? Oh dang, it's Robbie. Thank you so much, friend. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Cognitive dissonance, I agree. Thinking two simultaneous thoughts at once that are completely different. I feel awful he's being deported, but I genuinely think that he wanted to do terrible things to me or kill me. I go back to school in a few days, and I'm so terrified that he or someone else will follow me. I don't know if an illegal immigrant can be charged with crimes. He was arrested, stalking, insurance, possession of deadly weapon in the night. Attempted breaking and entering, they just kept adding on charges. Interesting. Was that a Let's Not Meet or Creepy Encounters? Oh, that was a Creepy Encounter story. It was actually pretty good. What's your mic and interface setup? This is a Neumann mic, TLM 103 or something, and then H4n Pro is the one I record into, but the Neumann is connected to a UAC2 Zoom interface for the streams, which I like because I feel like for a while I was using a really shitty mic for streaming, and then tried to use OBS had some sort of add-on program to it to remove background noise, but really nothing removes background noise as well as just literally turning down the volume on your hardware that picks up sound. You just use OBS. Do you record into OBS or? Putting these student loans to good use, currently in PhD program for chemistry and always listen today. That's cool. What, if you don't mind me asking, what's your, I guess, is it called focus? What's your focus on your PhD? Or what is your dissertation going to be about? You do a bunch of filters that help. I'm going to listen. Can I listen to your channel, 6 stories? I just want to listen to it real quick. I'm glad you stuck around. Oh, you only had 2 videos, which is fine. That's cool, you're getting started. And honestly, dude, you never know when shit might take off. I would definitely work on your thumbnail game a little bit here. And, your art and all that kind of stuff. Oh, it just says I don't upload. I would just get a vision of what you want to do. And think of someone that you admire in the community, whether it's me or Mr. Nightmare or some other person, and just literally copy their style. What's his name? Oh fuck, what is his name? He popped off recently. I've talked about him before. I've never like spoken to him personally or anything, or really even listened to many of his stuff. But what was his name? Like Spooky Story. Oh fuck. It was basically like he like copied Mr. Nightmare's like length of video and almost cadence and voice a little bit and thumbnails almost identically, and now he's at, you know, over 1 million subscribers and getting like 1,000 subs a day. You know, so sometimes like your metadata and your, you know, obviously your thumbnails and just the presentation, like sometimes it like overlaps with like other creators, and you kind of like essentially pick up that audience from them. Bing Chilling Stories. No, it's not any of those. Fuck, I forget his name. What's your advice to YouTubers that just started scary stories? Yeah, I mean, just that kind of stuff. Like I said, try to emulate somebody, and you know, sometimes if you feel like you can add something to it, you know, like if you can take somebody else's formula, tweak a little bit of something, make it a little bit better, whether it's like the visuals. Like if you go to like Lighthouse Horror, like it's not like excessively complex, but so all of their thumbnails, if you look at it right out the gate, like it's a good name. Lighthouse Horror is a good name. He's got the nice profile picture. He's got a really good like art, you know, channel banner. Not that that fucking matters because it's the videos that you click on, and he's got like eye-catching thumbnails that are very similar to all the other creepypasta people like Dark Somnium or Mr. Creeps and all that kind of stuff. You know, but then the title of the video: in 1959, 9 hikers went missing. I found out what happened. Like it doesn't say creepypasta after it, so that's a change, right? It just literally is kind of like clickbaity, but like interesting. But then you get into it, and you're like, most people might end up clicking off because it doesn't have like a lot of creepypasta narrators, including myself, don't have a lot of like visual elements other than like our intro. Yeah, I mean, we can listen to him a little bit. Sorry to use him as an example all the time, but he just did a really good job.
At the Dyatlov Pass.
So like visual intro as he's talking, and there he is, like right on camera, like as soon as you come in, which is like, it's like the Mr. Ballin vibe, you know what I mean? Like does the, like it's a way for the audience to like connect, you know what I mean? He has good audio. He's got a cool green screen with some like
Who saved my
AI
life,
art, or, you know.
Rambo. That's his name. I was the one who trained him up for the King 2.
But then as you continue through, he's like got an interesting mix of like B-roll with like, he takes like, I noticed, I think he takes like AI art or just various art and like runs it through an AI program that like, you know, turns it into like a 4-second animation, which is really, really good because those 4 seconds is usually most people's attention span for like still frames and things of that nature. So like, it just like sort of keeps people engaged, even if they are like most of the time for 35 minutes just going to be listening in the background. But I think it's good to, you know, take things up a notch or whatever. Going forward here. Yeah, a lot of B-roll, but it's whatever. You're talking about Formula. Yeah, Formula One racing. You got to have connections, man. You know, the nice thing about YouTube is you don't always need to be like I 100%. Okay, we can go. I'm gonna go back to Lighthouse's channel, and I'm gonna look it up on Social Blade, which is a great place to see people's like sort of rise, I guess you could say, in YouTube, and you can look at their statistics. Like he's getting more views than me a month, which is sick, you know, and he's getting close to 1,700 to 1,000 subs a day, which is crazy. But then you can go. Let's see, where can we see like shit. Oh fuck. Well, basically what I'm trying to do is you can go to yeah. Wait, what am I doing? Oh, that's total views. But you can go to Social Blade and you can see like you can see how their channel has grown over the years. And I don't really think he like collabs or like gets shout outs from anybody. He just literally made the content necessary that like was really beneficial for YouTube, and then, you know, he spaces out his videos like one every like 4 to 6 days. Like and like it seems like every time he puts something out, people like look forward to clicking on it, which really helps. Like YouTube's very reliant upon momentum. So if people liked your last one, they're probably going to check out the first one, and you don't want to, or the next one, you don't want to deviate too much from your previous content. Like when they come to this channel, Lighthouse Horror or Let's Read or whatever, they know what they're getting. Like they know they're getting creepypasta here, or they know they're getting true crime, you know, true scary stories from me or whatever. Or if they, you know, you go to a music channel, they get music, a drama channel, you get drama, whatever the fuck, you know. So it's all about finding like your brand, or the sort of micro niche that is going to essentially cater to a specific audience. Formula, I mean, a regular systematic thing that people get accustomed to. It's formulaic, like a song shouldn't be more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there is. It's good to get like a system in place, you know. I put out videos once a week. My videos are about this, and this is my workflow for editing video and editing audio and yada yada yada. MK4 VR 6 boy, welcome to the Butter Sock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Yeah, no worries. Same as Internet Historian, they have a unique way of telling. Has Internet Historian put up a video in a while? I remember he was kind of under fire for plagiarism and shit like that. Oh, 1 month ago, not too bad. Let's see. I mean, yeah, but still, like he kind of was able to find success there. And yeah, so every time he puts out a video, it pops off. Yeah. Anyways. Don't hook up with the waiter. Car accident turned creepy. Okay, yeah, here we go. How will history view us? It's a very existential curiosity. Honestly, history will view us however we're painted, you know what I mean? Like, I thought about that the other day. When it comes to history, it's really just like a little narrative that we create in our head about what was happening in the past. Like, you hear about the Black Plague, things of that nature. You hear about World War II. But you don't even, you know, like when you look at the news in the current form, you don't really know what's going on over in Ukraine. You don't really know what's going on over in various other conflicts or areas of the world and that kind of thing. So, like, if we can't even get, you know, basic information in the current reporting process done well, who's to say that, like, most of history is not just complete fucking nonsense? I'm not saying it is, but it's weird that sometimes when we, like, look at history, historians are always almost like have a lot more credibility than like journalists do in the modern sense. But that's just because we're able to like look at a journalist presentation of a story and be like, well, that's incorrect, right? You know, question mark. So, you know, for stuff that happened like a long ass time ago or quite a while ago, it's like, are they biased? Are they correct? Or is like, was there just like some authority at some point in the position of power that like wrote this down, and then this is what forever everybody is going to perceive it as, and then because enough people perceive it as that, they're considered the authority on that shit? You know, it's just like, what, all you really know is like what's fucking right in front of you most of the time. I ordered a board game on Amazon last week. It got delivered. I was just sitting on the couch when I get a phone call. The guy doesn't speak my language, but I understand it's the delivery guy. I reply yes in the language that he was speaking to. Are you home? I start to run downstairs because my intercom isn't working while the guy screams on the phone with me to open the door. He starts kicking the building's front door, which made me stop a little as I'm a girl and both my boyfriend and roommate were upstairs, but I would be going downstairs by myself. When I get there, He had dropped the package on my front step and was standing really far off. He looked distraught and his eyes were red. He asked if the package was for me, and I nodded, and I grabbed the package and closed the door ASAP. I'm terrified that he might come back since he knows where I live, and I don't know why he was acting that way as I would... I'm terrified that he might come back since he knows where I live. I don't know why he was acting that way, and I was as fast as I could be. I reported him to Amazon, and they will investigate the situation and reach out to me again if they need to. Thank you for the comments, and I think it's good I reported him, and I just hope he doesn't remember where I live. Pint of Ben & Jerry's fudge brownie ice cream, hell yeah, dude. That's what I'm talking about, baby. What are your views on my channel? What do you think I have to improve in? Sure, let me take a quick peek. Mindful arc. Okay, you got the, got the profile picture, good banner. Let's see videos is really the only thing I'm gonna be looking at. I'd say the thumbnails look pretty good. 3 terrifying, true, scary stories, horror stories. I would tend to avoid ones that are just kind of like too, like, well, you know, it's hard to say. I mean, you do, yeah, you're definitely like right there in the realm of like fitting the Mr. Nightmare style like thumbnail and that kind of thing, and they're the same like time frame of like 11 to 15 minutes or like 10 to 15 minutes, which is good for people's like attention. Heartbeat intro. Oh, do you use AI? You use an AI voice? Yeah, this is AI voice, I believe. Not to be disrespectful, if it's not, let me know, but to me that's kind of a turn off, because like I don't really think people like the AI voice stuff, and I don't really think you can make it very far like using only AI, you know what I mean? Not AI voice. Wait. Oh, or no, not AI voice. Nothing to, you know, nothing to be disrespectful, because it's like, you know, you're putting in the time and stuff to make stuff happen, but I just don't think like AI can really carry people as far as they think it can. Of course, for newbies, they want to start channels, narration channels. You know, it's tough. Honestly, sometimes I kind of, like I look at, man, what the hell is this? Oh, wait. Scary Spookies? No, what the fuck was his name? I can't even remember it. He's popping off. I almost want to like pick his brain to see like what he did, because there might be like little nuanced things that like I haven't even like thought of that could be like huge. Because some people are like so good like that, like they can see a system, you know, reverse engineer how that system worked for somebody else. Yeah, chilling scares, thank you. Like chilling scares is a great example too. Like 1.1 million, and he did that in like the span of like a fucking year, dude. His 8 days ago, 6 most disturbing camping encounters caught on camera. I mean, that's huge too, because that's visual. So he shifted to visual stuff, which is great. 2.5 million views. Like that's nutball mode. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would look at his channel and just try to like. Sometimes you can like sort by oldest. So if you go back to a channel's like oldest videos, you can see how they've evolved. And it really did seem like he kind of had like shit sort of figured out from the get-go. It seems like he's 6 disturbing videos from around the internet. That in and of itself is something that's pushed a lot of like big creators forward. If you remember like Rainbot, she did that. Nexpo got really big from just doing disturbing videos around the, you know, Lazy Masquerade, you know, he popped off with like narration, but like he does stuff like that. And those are very, very like marketable within the space of YouTube. And really at the end of the day, like all those other like scary video channels like Chills and Bizarre Bub, like that's what they do, you know? So there's really no shame in it, you know what I mean? Like as long as you, let's see how he gives credit though, just out of curiosity. Here are 6 or so, yeah, credit, and he links the videos. I mean, that's really all you need to do. And if they're like somebody's like amateur shit, video 2 has been cut out due to copyright claims. This may result in comments with timestamps being inaccurate. If you're still interested, feel free to check out the video. Okay, so he did. It looks like he went into this situation with video 2 from Ivan Tuckton, and may have used it without asking. Well, it may have just popped up on natural like copyright process, but he may have gotten copyright claimed manually. And so sometimes it's smart to really like communicate with these users before you use their videos, because it can get you in trouble. Not even necessarily a copyright strike or anything like that, even though they can sometimes choose to do that. It can just result in headaches later when you're like trying to monetize your video, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, 2 days into it, it's getting 2.7 million views, and you're getting fucking copyright claimed, and all of a sudden all of your hard work, or whatever you want to call it, is stifled. But I think YouTube has some ways to kind of ease your way out of it, I guess, or like change things up or remove stuff. Stuttering a lot when you record, it's okay, you'll get better at it. I mean, you can listen to me, I make so many mistakes, and sometimes it's just about finding like the right, you know, your even flow, you know what I mean? Normal pictures with creepy, disturbing backstories. Yeah, I have a few of those videos. Alright, next story. My female friend came to visit me for a long weekend, and I, a 22-year-old female, won't be letting her stay ever again. Now, for some backstory, we were friends for about 3 months before we moved to separate states and continued our friendship virtually until now. It's been a healthy friendship with open communication. We've had our disagreements, but mostly always talked it out and moved on. They mostly revolve around her believing in stuff that I'm not open. Wait, what? I feel bad that one guy, whatever. So, oh no, there he is. So it's best using actual voice than AI. I would say so. Just because, I mean, you might get away with that on like Instagram Reels or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, maybe, like because where people are a lot more transient in the content they consume, where they come and go and they're just like, oh, that, you know, I was looking at that for a little bit and I don't even, you know, how many times have you looked at a meme or a viral video on like Instagram, but you don't click follow, you know, you don't click follow on like on the meme page that you follow, and that tends to basically result in them making like no money or whatever. But when it comes to YouTube, it's really important to make a connection with your audience to a degree, whether it's the familiarity of your voice or, you know, your face or whatever the fuck, you know. And if you're kind of going down the direction of AI, I think that puts a little bit of a bad taste in most people's mouth. And it's not that they won't listen to your content, it's just that I don't think you'll get as many like consistent and high quality like supporters over a period of time. And I also, the one thing you have to be concerned about a little bit is you don't know how YouTube's TOS and policies are going to continue to change as AI is incorporated into their systems more often. Like you, unfortunately, when you upload, not unfortunately, but it does make you disclose whether or not your video is using AI for its contents or whatever. And I don't know how that affects like your video's reach and potentially down the road somebody's like your video's monetization. Now, I can't speak for that directly or what the outcome will be. I'm just saying it's probably best just to stick to the formulas that other people have already found success doing, you know what I mean? YouTube Shorts from Marcus Aurelius advised channels are pure AI. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those, yeah. And sometimes you can gain a little bit of wisdom out of that, but I feel like I'd much rather hear, you know, somebody read Marcus Aurelius's journal like seeing their face and hearing their voice rather than just like some weird AI like saying some shit. Like, and I do have a little bit of a bias towards AI a little bit. Like, it's helped me in some ways in regards to like art and stuff like that. It's been interesting, but the fact that like my voice could be replaced one day by like some computer system that's continuing to advance, that does scare me, and that does frustrate me a little bit. I hope it doesn't end up that way, but didn't Google just celebrate they will use AI on everything? I don't know what specifically. Now, some backstory. We were friends for maybe approximately 3 months before we moved to separate states and continued our friendship virtually until now. It's been a healthy friendship with open communication. We have our disagreements, but mostly always talked it out and moved on. They mostly revolve around her believing I don't open up enough, and for me, she does things that are inconsiderate at times, like be jealous of my long-term friends, to their faces, and have an odd attitude problem at times. It's only been shown maybe 3 times. She can also be a bit obsessive and get upset when I don't text her for more than a day. She's got loads of photos saved to her phone and remembers every little thing about me and has a list of my interests. I've seen it endearing. I've seen it as endearing until now, the trip. On day 1, the first day of the trip, it was great. She was bubbly and brought me a gift with a sweet note of appreciation. We went clubbing and headed to bed, separately for the night, and this is where things got weird. Remember, we slept separately. Well, I woke up, and she was in my bed. But not in my bed. She was sitting upright on top of the blankets next to me, with her feet straight out and her back against the headboard while looking forward. I was startled and said, "Oh," instinctively. I'm pretty scratching the shit out of stuff. The one nice thing about AI is you don't have to worry about, like, background noise or your cat scratching the fucking chair. Hi, kitty. But one thing about AI is you don't have a cool cat that everybody knows about and likes just because they like cats. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Mr. Bollins and I are on the good channel. Yeah, he was recently did an interview on the Paul, what's it called? Something Ryan show. And he usually interviews a lot of random shit. But Mr. Ballin was talking about his like growing up experiences and the success of his channel, and then also his not Paul Ryan. Yeah, let's see Paul Ryan's channel. Sean Ryan, that's it. Yeah, Sean Ryan. But he was talking about his like Navy SEAL experiences, and once again, dude, like every single like people in our culture like. But it's always the people who are into like CrossFit and like working out a bunch and like waking up at 4 a.m. to sound like they're cool and stuff. They love to like hold special forces guys in like such high regard, which granted, thank you for your service, etc., etc. But like all of them have like this deep, saddening story that goes along with their experiences being in combat. And how it's just like fucked them up, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I look at it and I can't help but see like, I don't know, just the fault of humanity, you know, the hubris of mankind. Does your cat play with dead mice too? I mean, if he catches one, yeah, he fucks with them a lot. You like Nick Crawley? Yeah, I never really watched Nick's stuff, but I hear it's good. War is hell. Exactly, yeah, like we romanticize like war so fucking much. Like it's so weird. Like a lot of us are against it, but then we're like also for the guys like, you know, SEAL Team 6 or killed Bin Laden, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just like Do you want to wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat screaming because you remembered you were having night terrors about your friends getting blown up or some shit, or the fact that you weren't allowed to like engage in combat until you were shot at, so you're like constantly sitting in this like anticipatory, neurological state similar to like World War I when they expected like a fucking shell to land in their trench and blow them up. It's like, that's not good. That's not a good thing. You were watching my videos before the check mark. Thanks, Cody. I appreciate you. But yeah, and the fact that like most of the Navy SEALs end up just like selling you underwear anyways, it's just, it all just feels like a fucking sick joke, No guts, no glory. But I don't even think, like, most veterans, like, that come out the other end who've seen combat, like, they won't sit there and tell you there was any glory in what they had to do or what they'd seen. And the fact that they, some of them drink themselves into a stupor every night to, like, forget the pain. And most of them, not most of them, but some of them, kill themselves and, can't fucking talk to anybody in their family or friends, and all the relationships deteriorate. It's like some of them make out the other end like relatively well acquainted with society, but it's fucked up, man. But they don't show you those stories. They just show you the one where it's like, yeah, we woke up at 4 a.m. every day and we did burpees and rucksacked and jujitsu and Joe Rogan and it's just like, shut the fuck up, bro. Quit promoting that stuff. It's like promoting like joining a gang, like, oh yeah, go join the cartel, which like, I'm not saying it's the same thing, because they're the people that, protect us and make sure that, Walmart gets all the cheap chips, and we have all this like these delectable goodies in the stores at all times, and, relatively affordable vacuum cleaners. Like I'm proud of them for that, but it's, it's not pretty. I was startled and said, "Oh," instinctively, and she just looked at me. She never said that she was waiting for me to wake up, or maybe she was uncomfortable with working. Yeah. Oh shit. It's Ree with a 30. Says, hey, I just popped in to get a Joel fix. Well, welcome, Ree. Thank you so flippin' much. Appreciate you. What are you doing? What's happened? What's new? You have a great voice reading stories. I have hyperlexia, so I always have been obsessed with reading. Hyperlexia? That's awesome. That sounds like sweet. Like just like walking into a bookstore or a library or something and just being like seeing all these like potential adventures at your fingertips. Which is how I always wanted to like look at bookstores, like see books and just be like, fuck yeah. But I can't, because I don't know, as like a young kid, I've conditioned my brain to thinking that like reading is exhausting. I sound like Cam from H3. Who's Cam? No, I don't remember. Is he the producer? Hello, is the dark web safe? Just looking at UFO cases, real paranormal cases, stuff like that. The dark web is not safe in the sense that like the least that could happen to you right out the gate is all of your personal information will probably be hacked if you go on there. I would suggest not. Looking at UFO cases, real paranormal cases, stuff like that. Like, do I have that on the channel? Yes. Yet it's literally my job. Yeah, like I don't mind this. Like obviously I'm very distracted. A lot of these stories, I do regret for how much I read, how the stories that I do read aren't like I'm never going to learn anything from these stories. Like you might learn a little bit about like how to deal with someone who's crazy or a creeper or like stalker or, oh, I'm familiar with ghosts or something like that. But I do miss the days of like reading sci-fi and learning what it means to be like a good writer and learning what it means to have like unique and interesting like ideas like from incredibly intelligent people who have perceptions of history and modern day political perspectives that are, prophetic in a way. I sometimes wonder what my mind would be like if instead of reading shit about like girls getting stared at, I was, reading Asimov, Isaac. You found my channel through dark web stories. Did you find it through the most recent dark web stories? Because that one got age restricted and got kind of like not suggested out to anybody. You want to make content, but I think it would be boring stuff to most people. Oh, that's fair. Some people really like boring stuff, like just, I don't know, if it's like whittling wood in your basement, it might be like ASMR to somebody else, and they might really enjoy like your tedious, not saying it is tedious, but if there's like a tedious process of you explaining exactly what you're doing with the wood whittling, that if it's something like that, they might really enjoy long form videos like that with like some light editing. She never said that she was waiting for me to wake up, or maybe she was uncomfortable on the couch. Nothing. And then she left my room. I have no clue how long that she was sitting there. Day 2 to 3, day 2 in the morning, we walked the city where she was engaged and... Oh, engaged as in interested. I want to break down articles, papers, studies. Oh, that's fair. That's a huge market, honestly. I think your most difficult aspect of that is just how do you title the video. The thumbnail probably doesn't matter too much. Like, you don't need some crazy, like, literally a guy like looking up in, how sometimes like YouTube will just use like a random image from the video itself, the raw footage, and it'll just be like a guy being like, with his hands up, like, he's like explaining something like that. Like, as long as you figure out how to like title your videos and you are able to like articulate the articles that you're reading, and maybe you stick to a specific niche. I know there's this one guy, he titles his videos like so odd, like you wouldn't be able to derive even what he's talking about. It will say something like big day in the realm of cardiac science or something like that, and then it's like basically all of his videos are like a way for him to talk to a large amount of people about like the realities of COVID and the disease of COVID without like having the YouTube like censorious algorithms like kind of kill his videos and whatnot. But I'm not saying, but if yours were more like palatable and not like, politically divisive, I'm sure you could discuss things, like the truth behind nicotine studies. Yeah, I could see that. I could see like clicking, well, let's think. The truth behind nicotine studies. Yeah, and then I feel like you would have to elaborate a little bit. Like, I'm kind of dumb, you know what I mean? Like, you got to pretend everyone's a little bit dumb. And then it would have to be something like on the thumbnail, it's like, it's not what you think, or like they were paid off, or you know what I mean? Because I know with studies, like a lot of the times it's the company that makes the shit that is like funding the study, so therefore there's the bias there and stuff. Like maybe in the thumbnail it says like riddled with bias, or like funded by Nestle or something. I don't even know. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, you probably most likely look up that kind of stuff within the YouTube. You probably look up that kind of stuff in the YouTube realm already. So just see what those types of people in that community already kind of do, and see the ones that do have success doing it, and just copy what they do. It's probably the best approach. Truth behind the nicotine lobby. Truth is, nicotine doesn't cause cancer. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what Carter? What information do you have to impart upon us about nicotine? But yeah, you would also, yeah, with your editing, I feel like have to kind of break down. Like, if you ever seen like Jeff Nipples, he does a really, really good editing whenever he shows like, I don't know, science-based articles pertaining to stuff. He's able to like keep your attention as he goes. I do kind of dislike sometimes whenever people reference a study as their justification for why you should do said thing, because they tend to be like one study, and then I don't know why, but people just instinctually see like a bunch of text on the screen of like a wrinkly piece of like article paper that someone wrote, and they think it holds a degree of authority, and the person they respect is telling you that it does, when in reality the only way you can really figure out it is to be like somewhat literate in that material and that type of research process, so you can actually go in and be like, well, this doesn't make any sense, or this seems a little bit out of odds. First accredited death was a 12-year-old in 1800s. I couldn't find supporting docs though. Wait, what were you talking about? First accredited death to nicotine? Reading H.P. Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe. I do believe I read some of those like back in the day on the channel. I think some of them are still up, some of my H.P. Lovecraft stuff, because I don't think H.P. Lovecraft is like copyrighted by anybody. Let's see. H.P. Lovecraft. We got... Maybe I took it all down. Let me check my videos overall though. Lovecraft, baby Lovecraft. Wait. Show all. Okay, so we got Pickman's Model by H.P. Lovecraft, The Secret of Kralitz by Henry Kuttner, Lovecraftian horror. Oh, okay. The Cats of Uthar by H.P. Lovecraft, The Thing in the Moonlight by H.P. Lovecraft featuring Dr. Creepin Van Posten, The Hound by H.P. Lovecraft, horror, let's read. The Statement of Randolph Carter by H.P. Lovecraft, The Other Gods by H.P. Lovecraft. So it looks like I privated all those videos back in the day because I thought that they would get copyrighted, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're not. I'll have to look that up. Do you like R.L. Stine? I did back in the day. I always loved his cover art. I don't think I ever really read any of his stuff, but I did watch the Goosebumps show. But it's really funny, like, whenever you see, like, what R.L. Stine looks like compared to, like, I just always imagine, like, the creepiest child horror story writer in the land. And it just shows, like, this, hey, guys, so I was doing the crossword puzzle earlier, and I thought of a really creepy idea where there's a blob that comes out of a kid's boogers, and then if the blob touches anybody else, it melts their skin off and turns them into shoes. Okay. Roger Zelazny. I have not, no. Oh, it's interesting to see how the process of how tobacco got popular, when and where. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be a whole history lesson there. Do you like Guillermo del Toro? I think I do. You know, I've seen some like Pan's Labyrinth. To me frustrated me because I don't know if you guys seen Pan's Labyrinth, but I went to the theaters to see that when it came out back in the day, and I was so stoked for it because it like, you know, it was one of those, it was kind of advertised very similar to certain animes where it has just like so many visual concepts on screen all at one time, boom 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 boom, you know, so you think it's going to be like this epic adventure of visual amazement, and then you go see it and it's just, all that really indicates in the trailers that there's no like individual focus, and a lot of like the visuals are just fluff, and the overall story I think was like the Spanish Civil War anyways, and like a little girl's story, and it was really boring. I wasn't a big fan of that. Okay, sorry. I gotta get locked the fwick in. How'd you find out that you like to do narrations? I really, it just came down to wanting to do something creative, and I thought this would be the easiest thing to do on YouTube, and it just so happened that eventually I found the creepypasta community and then just started doing what they were doing, because they were having success. Read Captain Underpants. I did read a lot of Captain Underpants back when I was a wee lad. I would get them at like the book festivals or something. I think mainly because those book festivals or book somethings or whatever that they had at school, where you would see what books are coming and all that kind of stuff, they were always like upcharged so fucking much. But then for some reason I feel like Captain Underpants was like one book that wasn't super expensive. Book fair, that's right, yeah. I remember people being so excited for the book fair and me just being like, I wonder if they have any like Sonic the Hedgehog look and find books where it's like you just like are looking for where Sonic is hiding, kind of like Where's Waldo. And sometimes they had computer games there too, but they were always like super expensive for no reason. The story of the guy that faked a bunch of papers and got them published in major journals. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Was it like all in favor of like big tobacco or something? Day 2 to 3. In the morning, we walked the city where she seemed to be engaged and wanting to hold my hand while we were out and about. By midday, still day 2, her attitude had shifted completely and she's near mute. She isn't conversing with me, enjoying any activities, or even smiling anymore. At the bar, arcade, or even at home watching movies. You know how those driving games take a silly little photo of your profile pic on the leaderboard? I was blowing a kissy face in mine. I glanced at hers and even snapped a pic without her noticing. Her head was tilted forward, looking up at the camera. She was blank-faced and you can mostly see the whites of her eyes. It was like the film poster of a horror film, like The Orphan from 2009. Anyways, for the rest of the trip, she continued to not smile. She was cold to every service worker, and she responded with one-word answers otherwise, and complained about any and everything. I asked her, "Are you okay?" A couple of times, and she replied, "I'm fine," avoiding eye contact every time, and the car rides were silent and dinners were silent. On day 4, the final day, I drove her to the airport at 3 a.m. I asked if she enjoyed her visit, and she said, "It was okay. It was fine." I told her I enjoyed having her, and she boarded her flight and left. I could not figure out what caused this 180-degree shift. I paid for everything, took her to all sorts of events that she wanted to go to, and even took a day off, my first sick day ever, to take her to more. I felt myself overcompensating because I felt insecure of being a terrible host or something. I've had several friends stay with me and express to me that they've enjoyed themselves so much that they never wanted to leave, and I don't believe that I did anything wrong to ruin this trip. When she arrived home, she didn't contact me, but she posted photos and videos of me captioned, "Mine," on her social media. I haven't brought this conversation up to her yet, and all of my family and friends believe that I narrowly avoided a Selena Yolanda Lifetime film situation and that I was potentially with someone unstable. But what do you think? That's a crazy bitch. Oh, story of faked a bunch of papers. Oh, and he talked about metachlorians. That's funny. He got it into Science magazine. Roger Zelazny, Lord of Light, the Hand of Oberon, 9 Princes in Amber. Is it good? What is he? What's the stories about? A lot of people who manage to get published on pure made-up BS or right off the bat, multiple deep dives to get your channel. That's true. Yeah. That definitely seems like it goes into the realm of like entertainment. You know what I mean? But it's good to like find, like, sometimes you can be that, like, dry person who talks about studies and stuff, and that can be, like, a thing, but obviously making it entertaining in some way is fun. Like, there's this one guy, he does a great job at just, like, presenting long, tedious books of science fiction, but in a way that, like, examines the ideas and also summarizes the books very effectively. You guys may have seen the channel called Quinn's Ideas. He says that he makes nerdy videos, but, like, you know, like this one video, The Tragedy of Starship Earth, 3-body problem series. Like, he goes into all the themes and all that kind of stuff, and, like, we'll pull quotes and stuff from that, but it's like he does the reading, but he's summarizing it for you and giving his ideas, you know, that he's pulled from it and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, you doing the footwork as someone who's done all the reading and research, as long as you know how to, like, make it entertaining for people, I think you can find a lot of success by giving people intellectual content, for sure. Sci-fi, okay, yeah. Read The Indian in the Cupboard. I think I've seen the film back in the day. Hey, David De La Rosa Jr., thank you for the one. Do I remember when it was spelled Berenstein and not Berenstein? Wait. Did they actually change it to Berenstein? Berenstein? I know that was like a Mandela effect type thing, but I always remember it being the Bernstein Bear. I always call it the Bernstein Bears. I got home from work at around 10:30 p.m. today. I went to do my pretty typical after-work routine. Check the mail, walk my dog, and eat some dinner. I went to go check the mailbox, and there was a car sitting idle in my neighbor's parking lot, and I'd never seen this car here before. Headlights were on, and a guy was sitting in the driver's seat. I live alone, and my boyfriend was over to drop me off at home after work, and I went to unlock my apartment door for him because he wanted to pet my cat while I was out walking my dog. I take my dog to her usual potty spot, which is a pretty sketchy area with very minimal lights, and that's when the guy who was in the pickup truck got out and started to approach me in the dark. He pulled out his phone and asked me if I had seen the lady on her screen. Wait, I got glitched. Did I die? Oh! What did I just click? Oh no, it said check out or upload. Yeah, everything seems good. Do I think about the OG YouTuber Vsauce? Vsauce is a great example of, like, people who was able to take intellectual concepts and make them fun for people, and, you know, it was definitely like almost like an AI version of what's his stupid name? Bill Nye the Science Guy kind of vibe. It was like Bill Nye the Science Guy, but for, like, college Redditors, you know what I mean? But, like, back whenever, like, it was considered, like, intellectual to be on Reddit or something like that, you know? But I think his stuff was good. I don't know does he still do stuff? Does he work for, like, companies? Do you remember the cornucopia and the fruit of the loom? I do, yeah. All the fruit fucking hanging out of it. Have you read My Wife Has Been Peeking at Me from Around Corners Behind Furniture? It's gone from weird to terrifying. I don't think so. I think I saw that on some creepypasta channels, like as a video title. He pulled out his phone and asked me if I had seen the lady on her screen. He showed me a picture of his screen. He pulled out his phone and asked me if I had seen the lady on his screen. He showed me a picture of a lady who I could barely make out as she took up maybe 1/6 of his phone screen. He kept getting closer and closer as I kept telling him, no, I don't know who that is. He insisted that she lived in this apartment complex in Unit 20, and my apartment is nowhere near Unit 20, it's on the other side of the complex. I kept backing away from him, and my dog could sense that there was something wrong with him and started to bark. She rarely barks until it's absolutely necessary. The more this guy talked, the more he creeped me out. He said that he needed to know her location to make sure that she's not a catfish, and he's not a bad guy because his kid is in the car waiting for him. At this point, I knew I had to get out of this situation, so I practically sprinted inside and went to go tell my boyfriend what had happened. I asked him to come out of the apartment with me to see if the car was still there, and it was, but the guy had gotten back into his truck, but is still parked in my neighbor's spot. While this was happening, my neighbor had returned home and asked the truck to move out of his parking spot, which he did, only to circle back 5 minutes later and park in the spot right next to my neighbor's car. This spooked the hell out of me, and I had ended up dialing the local non-emergency line for some peace of mind. My apartment has an extensive amount of security cameras due to the high crime rate in the area, and I'm wondering if I should report this incident to the apartment complex. Have I read the book Found by Todd Rigney? Probably not, no. Well, definitely not, I have not. Unless... Oh my goodness, we're getting there. Share some good news, sure. Have I ever met anyone famous? I shook hands with David Cross at the Chicago O'Hare Airport in 2019. Or was it 2019? I don't know. I shook hands with David Cross where I passed by him and he was talking on the phone and I stuck my hand and I was like, hey man, I love your shit. That's probably not the best thing to say. I was like, I love your shit. And he had to put his phone in his neck nook and kind of awkwardly shake my hand. He's like, oh, thanks man, and kept walking. And then I also saw Tyler the Creator at LAX waiting for his car with it, and I'd walked up behind him and I put my hand on his back and I was like, what's up Tyler, and shook his hand, and he was not his bodyguard or whatever was like, hey man, not cool. And Tyler was just didn't even look at me. He was like, oh, what's up man. He didn't seem super nice, but it's whatever. I don't really expect him to be. I handed him my mixtape, but it's just an hour of me farting. And I think he sampled it in all of his songs. Jump scaring people, yeah. I don't know if this will gain any traction, but this has been on my mind ever since it happened. I'm a respiratory therapist that works at a local hospital. I was on my way to work, about less than a mile away from my occupation, when the car in front of me quickly merged into one of the emergency lanes as if something suddenly had just happened. Then he just sat there. No hazards going off, nothing to indicate that he planned on moving. I still had 20 minutes before I had to be at work, assuming this individual may be in distress or have car problems. I decided to be a good Samaritan. I parked on the shoulder of the road and turned on my hazards. We exchanged eye contact and I gestured a wave, rolled down my window and asked, "Are you okay?" He seemed to have either not heard me or ignored me, but he did seem to realize that I wanted to help him. He gets out of his car at this point. Keep in mind, we're on an extremely busy road. I'm in my work scrubs, which tends to help people relax knowing that they are with a healthcare professional. However, this was different. When he got out of his vehicle, I assumed that I cleared of stage 4 cancer. Oh, that's amazing. Congrats. That's awesome. That's crazy. Cannot imagine what that... I mean, maybe you can tell us, like, what did that feel like during the whole process of, like, hearing about it and then, I don't know, just going through all that? Notable person you remember was Eric Stewart, who voiced Brock James in the Pokemon dub. Oh, that's awesome. I'm in my work scrubs, which tends to help people relax knowing that they're with a healthcare professional. However, this was different. When he got out of his vehicle, I assumed that he would have told me that he was in some type of pain or something that caused him to pull over so abruptly. He'd been driving fine the entire time I was behind him. So I casually get out of my vehicle and walk to the back end of his car. And this is when I officially start a conversation asking if he's hurt, is something wrong. All the basics, but the thing is, his eyes were cold. He had this body language to him that almost made him seem a little unhinged or skittish. He'd not answered any of my questions, so I tried once more, asking, "Hey man, we're in the middle of a busy road. Is there something wrong with your car or something going on with you?" And he simply replied, "No." I started to feel this sensation of discomfort, like he wanted to do something to me but was restraining himself. I continued to play it off. He didn't seem drunk or high, but he had those black, beady eyes that I couldn't stop looking at. It was as if he was just a vessel to something dark. I tried to continue the conversation. "Why'd you stop, man? You don't want to get hit out here." He replies, "I don't know. I don't know where to go." I didn't know what he meant by this, so I questioned further by saying, "Do you know what city you're in right now? If you're lost, I can tell you where the nearest highway is," which was also less than a mile away. His reply was a little chilling. "Anywhere but here." And I was now confused. He didn't know where he was, but felt this urge to get out of the area as quick as possible. So I asked, "What direction you wanting to go? 75 north will take you to Daytona. You take 75 south, you'll head to Cincinnati." He asked, "What would you do in my position?" Now I have no idea what he meant by this, and I simply replied, "Oh, I don't know what kind of position you're in, man. Can you drive? The hospital I work for is within view. We don't have to go in. I just want to make sure that you don't get hit." He agrees to follow me, but once I turned on my blinker to turn into the hospital, he completely stopped following me, pulled a U-turn, and sped off. Now, I know this isn't the creepiest thing in the world, but you really have to try to understand just how foreign and strange this behavior was. Each time we engaged in conversation, it was as if he was contemplating telling me something, but ultimately remained silent. From the looks of it, he drove a red Toyota, approximately a RAV4 hybrid maybe, so I mean, he didn't have a broken down car, looked like he was a substance abuser. He just seemed incredibly nervous, and his fast motion gestures and twitches of all his body language has left me puzzled and still gives me shudders when I think about how he moved, talked, lack of response, declining any help, not explaining a single reason as to why he just decided to park on the side of the road. A simple, "Oh, I'm just lost," would even been enough for me to feel better about the entire situation. He just seemed incredibly paranoid and hesitant. On top of it, the entire conversation led nowhere to his situation or why he was acting so strange. I just want to make sure that he didn't need help or get hit by a car. Yeah, he might have been on shroomies. are getting there. We are getting there. How actually close are we? Oh, these are long. Thick boys. Sort of. Let me take a quick break. I'm going to take my magnesium, and I will be right back. Oh, it didn't work. Wait, I can't click that? Fuck, I was supposed to do like fart noise and... Oh shit, wait. What the fuck? My OBS is glitching out. What the hell? My OBS is like the streaming software I'm using is glitching out where I can't like click anything within it. That's a bit odd. That kind of sucks. Like nothing is like interactable at all. The never-ending stream, yeah. I guess I would have to like... I mean, thankfully I don't have to like switch between scenes or anything. Huh. But I mean, I was gonna put on the be right back sound or whatever. Oh, it's like completely... Can you... At least I can still see the chat and stuff. That's so odd. Huh. All, like, the chat's interactable, but... Huh. That is fucking weird. Can you reboot the program without resetting everything? I can't, though. Like, if I close it out, it, like, the stream will end. Which is... kind of bad. I mean, I guess I could test it. The stream gods have spoken. I guess that's true. Let's cringe on here. I just got 5 minutes ago. These are Reddit stories. Ah, fuck it. Hold on a sec. I'll be right back. I mean, just chill here for a second. BRB. Yeah. OBS is so weird, dude. And like, what's so strange is... Huh. The Overwolf egg. Is the program even up? I don't want to fuck it up. Let me look at the task manager. Streamlabs OBS. I have no idea. Really strange. Why would it not be clickable? Very, very odd. Am I on the 4chat dating app? What's that? Oh, 4chan? I am not. No. What is it? Tinder? Tinder 2? Okay. 4 more stories to go. What's up, Alexis? How you doing? My youngest son is autistic and 5 years old. It's very obvious that he's autistic, and he constantly stims with his hands, rocks back and forth, and doesn't respond to communication. He's a Gestalt language processor, so he repeats catchphrases that only I can understand. For instance, he'll say "whittle wobbles" when he has a hole in his sock. Saturday, I took him and my daughter, who's 8 years old, to the park. A man, probably in his mid to late 30s, was there with who he said was his niece. Her and my daughter hit it off, so he came over to talk to me. My son, in his own little world, but playing on the equipment from time to time. He hits himself in the head, so I try to constantly redirect him. The man asks if my son is autistic, and I say yes, and he then asks when he was diagnosed. I told him at the age of 2, almost 3. He asks if he's in regular classes or special needs, and I don't answer him right away because I'm starting to get uncomfortable. He can tell and responds with, "I think my nephew is autistic, and he's 3. So I let my guard down a little, which was the wrong decision. I tell him he's in a special needs class, and he asks what school because he wants to know options for his nephew. I hesitate and then tell him the 4 schools in the district that offer a special needs class, not specifying which school my son goes to. He then asks if my son runs off a lot, and I just reply sometimes. He notices the GPS tracker on my son's ankle, and he asks while that tracks him and if he ever tries to take off. At this point, I realize that this is not a conversation that I want to have. I tell him that I'm not comfortable talking to him about this anymore, and he responds with, "Well, I'm concerned about my nephew." I tell him not all autistic children are the same and he should get him evaluated. I call my daughter, who is upset because she was having fun playing with the little girl, and pick up my son and we go to the car. I'm watching him as we leave and he's just staring at us. My daughter asks why we had to go, and I tell her that we had to go home and do some stuff around the house. And she's very intuitive and asks, "Is it because of that girl's stepdad?" I ask her why she thinks he was her stepdad, and she said that the little girl told her that he was her mom's boyfriend. I ask what else she said about him, and she tells me the little girl said the man's name and that he likes to talk to girls like your mom and it makes my mom mad. I then ask if there was anything else, and she tells me the girl said that she was glad that she met my daughter because she's an only child and doesn't get to play with other kids except at school. She also tells me the little girl asked her phone number and wanted to see her again soon. The man was lying to me. For what reason, I don't know. I can only assume to make it seem like he was single or something. It could be more sinister than that, I have no idea. I immediately call the police and tell them everything. They get my info and say that they're sending an officer to the park, and by the time the officer got to the park, a couple of hours later, they were, of course, gone. I give the dispatcher a description, the man and the little girl's first names, and what I think that he was driving since it was just us there, so I assume his vehicle was in the lot. They tell me that they will call if they need any more information. Lesson learned. I'm almost certain that he took advantage of my willingness to help another autistic person to try to get information about my son or about me. Update. The man has been found and arrested. My brother shared my story with his friend who was a sheriff deputy in the county to the south of me. They had gotten similar reports about a man matching the same description. One report included him allegedly trying to lure a disabled toddler away from his mother at a trampoline park. They had video and his license plate at the time. My brother's friend sent me the guy's mugshot and asked if this was the man. It was. My brother's friend was investigating the trampoline park incident, but since it was a different county, didn't know of my report until my brother shared it with him. I asked about the girl that was with him, and he couldn't tell me anything other than she's safe. They arrested him in a county almost 2 hours away from me. I found out his full name and looked up his charges. He had a warrant in the state to the north of me for so many things, including stalking, violating a protective order, and child endangerment, and now new charges due to the trampoline park incident. Since nothing technically illegal happened in my situation, he won't have charges brought against him for that, but my story may be needed for this case. I'm not a lawyer or a law enforcement person, so I don't know specifics or how or why, but maybe to show a trend of his behavior, targeting disabled children. When I find out more, I'll update here. Parents, trust your instincts. I know some comments think that I went too far for calling the police, but in this case, I am confident now that I did not. Who knows how many times he may have done this, but it just went unreported. Oh, that was weird. I did kind of get like a weird feeling when he asked, like, does he run off? Like, it's like, why the fuck do you want to know if he runs off so you can, like, go grab him? Hey, Lana, thank you. I'm widowy hitting Dugwitty right now. What's up, Missy? In 2002, when I was 16, my parents went on vacation. While they were gone, I stayed at my older sister, Lisa's apartment with her and my 8-year-old niece, Sarah. It was during fall break, so Sarah and I were out of school. Since it was only a 2-bedroom apartment, Lisa let me sleep in Sarah's room, and Sarah slept in Lisa's room with her. On this particular morning, Sarah and I had both slept in. She was so excited that I was staying with them that she wanted to stay up all night watching Disney movies, and so we did. Lisa had fallen asleep on the sofa, so I picked Sarah up and put her in Lisa's bed, and then I went to bed myself. The next morning, I woke up to a man's voice. Lisa's boyfriend, Gary, had a very recognizable deep voice, kind of like Vin Diesel. This voice wasn't Gary's voice at all. This voice was an older man, and he sounded very agitated. I went into the living room to see who was here, and I saw the man sitting on the love seat closest. Hey, how fast can your kid run? Anything cool going on in the world, guys? Anything worth telling me about? Got your kid a tracking watch? Honestly, I would put like if I had a kid that was like little and could get kidnapped, I'd have like a necklace with one of those what's that shit called? Like the Apple like a little sticky circle thing that tracks their movement or whatever. Oh, a leash, yeah. Yeah, the leash. An Apple leash. Your country is succumbing to socialism. Which country? I went into the living room to see who was here, and I saw the man sitting on the love seat closest to the front door, and Lisa was sitting in a chair adjacent to the love seat. He looked to be in his 60s, and his shirt and jacket were nearly covered in blood splatter. She shot a fearful, surprised glance at me as she forgot I was there. The man stopped talking once he noticed Lisa had looked away from him. I made eye contact with him and he smiled, and then he places the gun that he was holding onto the coffee table in front of him. I couldn't move. I didn't know what to do. My first thought was to get between him and Lisa somehow, but I knew I had to stay where I was because he would have to get past me to get to the bedroom where Sarah was still sleeping. I searched the man's face trying to figure out who he was. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him, and he broke the silence. "Hey, I didn't know anybody else was here. I'm Eddie, Gary's stepdad." I faked a smile and gave a little weak wave, and he took out a cigarette and lit it. Lisa was still sitting on the sofa, seemingly bracing herself for whatever Evie had planned. Evie. Air tags, that's what I was thinking of. I got great news about my car's warranty. Let's go. Hey, it's me, Peter. D-Boy's stepdad. What's going on? Hey. We're closing our doors in 5 minutes. Speedy Gonzalez, thank you. Arriba. He R-worded. Oh. What are you talking about? What are we talking about in chat there? Lisa was still sitting on the sofa, seemingly bracing herself for whatever Eddie had planned. Eddie motioned for me to sit down on the bigger sofa across from him, and I did as he said. He took out a bag of weed and some rolling papers and began to roll a joint. "You smoke, youngster?" he asked me, and Lisa spoke up. "No, he doesn't. That's my baby brother. He's only 16. Eddie laughed, looked at Lisa and then me and said, "Damn. What the hell are y'all feeding these kids? That's a big one." Lisa laughed nervously. Eddie joined her, seemingly unaware of how uncomfortable we were. I got sidetracked. Let me finish telling you what this woman did, Lisa." Eddie went on to tell Lisa that he had just shot and killed a woman he knew because she stole $100 from him the previous night after he passed out drunk at home. He said that he knew it was her because he had pistol-whipped Gary's mother and made her tell him who went through his wallet while he slept. He then told Lisa he regretted not killing Gary's mother because he felt that she had to set him up. What is going on? Who are these people? "You smoke, youngster?" Well, that's what's going on in the world, so that's what I heard today. Well, yeah, but I feel like we're missing. You said he, but who are you talking about? Do a Kronk impression. Yeah, you broke the Emperor's groove. You can't be breaking the Emperor's groove. I didn't mean to break the... Read further up. You asked what's... Oh. I don't know. I meant fun news. Where's the fun news? Give Claire a shout out. What up, Claire? Oh, there he is. Sorry if I ever miss anybody, I don't mean to miss you. We've been here for 3 hours. Gaming. Basically, just tell me about video games. Any good video games? Or entertainment. What about movies? Any good shows or movies? The solar flares are cool. Northern lights everywhere. Oh, really? Where are you at that you got to see them? He then told Lisa he regretted not killing Gary's mother because he felt like she had set him up. He said he'd also shot the woman's husband, but was unsure if he was dead. He laughed and said he knew for sure the woman was dead because her head exploded like a watermelon. And my stomach was in knots. I was sweating and I could no longer hide my fear. I heard Lisa's bedroom door open from where I sat, and I saw Sarah walking across the hallway into the bathroom. Eddie looked in the direction of the hallway. "Damn, Lisa, who else is here?" Lisa spoke quickly. "It's Sarah. Please, Eddie, you know I don't allow smoking around here. Can you go on the patio with that?" Lisa's voice trembled. Eddie must have heard the fear in her voice because he replied, "Girl, what are you scared of? I ain't gonna do nothing to you. You good people. I just wanted to come see you before I go. You know the police is probably looking for me by now, but I just couldn't leave without seeing my favorite spades partner." Eddie smiled as he stood up and gathered his bag of weed, the joint, and the gun. I heard the toilet flush and then the sound of water running in the bathroom, and I began to pray that Sarah wouldn't come out here before he left. Eddie must have read my thoughts because he said, "Don't worry, young blood. I'm gonna get on out of here before that baby can see me like this." Lisa and I both stood up as he walked to the door. Lisa opened the door for him and he walked out, and we watched through the window as he got into his car and drove away. Lisa quickly grabbed the phone and called 911. Sarah came out of the bathroom and asked if the scary man was gone, and Lisa said yes and hugged Sarah. She began to tell me that she never liked Eddie because he acted strange and looked scary. When she heard his voice on her way to the bathroom, she stayed in there because she didn't want to come out and see him. I was pacing back and forth trying to process what had just happened. Lisa explained that Eddie was a drug addict. Lisa explained that Eddie was a drug addict and an alcoholic. Gary's mother kicked him out because he would keep popping up at her house. She was already aware that Eddie had attacked Gary's mother because Gary had called to tell her, though they didn't know he'd killed anyone when he came to Lisa's house. Eddie was arrested shortly after our encounter, and we had to talk to detectives. They told us the man he shot had died on the way to the hospital. It took years for me to forget the way he gleefully described killing that woman. He died in prison not long after he was finally convicted of the murders. Alright. How did I not get more votes? I feel like I don't know, it was like almost like they were writing a narrative, but like didn't. Maybe read some sci-fi exactly you said you needed, so just do it. Read a fucking book. Stop looking for a quick fix. Your brain is starving for something, and it's not here. You're bullying me. You're gonna beat me up. I can feel it. I'm threatened. I need this person arrested right now. Dude, yeah, vanilla chocolate. Oh my god, can you imagine like a bunch of like Hershey's vanilla chocolate, like white chocolate, just maybe it's got some like candies on the inside, just like melting in your mouth. That sounds so good right now. Alright, 2 more stories. This one's long as fuck. This one's not. I'm late tired. Maybe I should read the long one first just to get it out of the way. Playing the violin, that's cool. Yo, young Hollywood, yeah, still lifting heavy. Trying my best to get back up to the 500 on the squat again. I can't believe 8 weeks just like killed the strength so quickly. No, you're good, Em. I'll have to read some sci-fi at some point, get my brain back into gear. What do you eat to bulk? Honestly, I don't ever like actively try to bulk. It's fucking so easy for me to gain weight. It's so annoying. It's like I eat one bad thing and I'm like just screwed. But yeah, normally in the, like, if I'm just eating to work out or whatever, or like do the strength stuff, I mean, I remember like a typical diet for me would be like a bowl of those like thawed mixed berries from the fridge that were in the freezer, and thaw them out, and then put some honey on there, really fucking good. Some oatmeal, some egg bites, really good. A little Jocko protein drink. Tips on keeping abs, bro. Don't fucking ask me, bro. It's hard. That shit is tough. You gotta fucking get down to like, I don't know, 10 to 15% body fat. So it's like, do you want abs or do you want to like, I don't know. You definitely have to cut down quite a bit for that, but apparently the best ab workouts that you could probably do, at least to build, just like any other exercise, because so many people do like a trillion of abs, and it's like, I guess that's good, but like if you're trying to grow it like a normal muscle, the hanging like leg raise / knee raise, yeah, do you want to have abs or do you want to enjoy your life? Exactly. The hanging leg raise or hanging knee raise is good, and then you can like add weight or whatever to your, like maybe have like a dumbbell between your legs as you get better at it. And then there's and I guess there's different variations too. You can like stick your legs outwards like a star or some shit and like bring it up. That's fucking hard. But then if you can do like deficit sit-ups, almost like on a GHD machine or some sort of machine that can like lock your feet in, but you're almost on like a deficit like incline bench, but it's like decline, I guess, bench, and you can like hold a dumbbell and like go up in weight as you do those, and everything's just sort of like progressive overload really with anything. It's kind of strange that like everybody always like, you get on Instagram and you see like, try this workout for your ab, and you do like 100 of something, but I'm like, what's the point of doing 100 of something? Like, would you ever tell someone to do like 100 bicep curls of, holding fucking 5-pound weights? No, you wouldn't. You can't play the violin and read at the same time. Can't even play the violin. I was gonna say, I don't like, from seeing you in chat, you never mentioned the violin once before. I would have been pretty impressed. Isn't it supposed to be better to do less reps but more like intervals? Well, if you just think about it like any exercise, like if you want to get good at lat pull downs, on the pulley machine, you're going to do sets of like 8 to 12 or whatever, 3 sets, 3 to 4 sets, kind of taking that to like failure, kind of, or close to failure, or at least getting within that rep range, and then, going up a little bit in weight and doing the same rep range with good form and shit. And I just never really understood why like people are like, do like 1,000 crunches for your abs. And it's like, you'll get toned, but like the muscle is not going to get, like, I guess, like the appropriate signals per se to grow. But I mean, I definitely could be wrong about that too. Fallout, watch Fallout. I tried to watch Fallout, like the first episode. The combat choreography in that show it's so weird. It's like, did you ever go to a theater show and watch theater where there's a little bit of like combat involved and it just like looks like painfully fake, which is fine. It's like a theater show on a stage. Like, you can't expect it to be like Jackie Chan. But for some reason, the Fallout shows like hand-to-hand combat just like looked so